Hello, 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 everybody. Hope you are doing well. On this Friday, on this wonderful and beautiful Friday, I was actually trying to stream to 3 different platforms: YouTube, Instagram, and X. But for some reason, 2 of them didn't work. But I'm also, for the first time ever, because I turned on my computer and realized that I can do this now, I am also streaming vertically on YouTube. So that's something that like you could only do from a phone, so mobile sort of stuff. And now it's like within YouTube Studio, and we're able to do that. Hopefully, we will see how like the recognition goes on all this. So we got a horizontal and a vertical one going out. Hopefully, it'll work for those who are watching on the vertical. Thanks for watching. Might jump onto the horizontal. I don't know. We will see. But thanks for being here. Hit the like button. We'd really appreciate that if you hit the like button, because it helps. It helps quite a bit. So first time doing this stuff. As people trickle in, we're going to take your questions. We're going to interact with you guys and hopefully be of some good use to your Christian walk. So thanks for being here on this Friday afternoon. Well, this Friday afternoon here on the west coast of the United States of America. Man, I'm just going to buy you one and send it. Like you're frustrating me. Didn't I tell you where she got this from? I thought I did, because I remember telling my wife to tell you. So I don't know if she did or not, but I like these ones. And get a Chelsea jersey while you're at it. Lots of blue. The background is blue. Why is my phone not on? Do not disturb. Okay. Don't want to be disturbed. Here we are, man. What a day. What a morning. Beautiful weather here in sunny Southern California. If you are in Southern California, go outside. Like, you can walk outside with your phone. Take a walk. Listen to us talking today, because it's really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. So I'm kind of curious to know, is there a way I can know how many people are watching on the vertical versus how many people are watching on the horizontal? So I don't think there is. It is what it is. See, I did. You two did tell me, but I forgot the name. Shame. Great shame. Great shame. We are chugging along, by the way. We are chugging along to hit our goal for the year, which is 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We are currently at 9741, almost coming up to 9750. I think yesterday we were at 9725. So yeah, we are chugging along, like I said, and hopefully we will hit 250 more, essentially 250 more subscribers, and we have hit our goal. Best year we've had, I think. I'm pretty sure best year we have had. So 2024, we had 202,000 views, 14,000 hours of watch time. This is, okay. And this 2020, December 31st, 2022 to December 31st, 2023, actually, 2.3 thousand in new subscribers. 2025. I think this is off. Yeah, the dates are bad here. Oh, it's comparing it. Sorry. Yeah. 2024. Okay, I see what is going on. So 2024 was a great year. Viewers wise, we were 12% up. Watch time was about the same as 2023. Subscribers, we were 38% up on subscribers. We had 2,300 new subscribers in 2024. So best year 2024 over 2023. And then this year views are like way up. So we're 37% more than 2024. We're almost at 270,000 views. Watch time is 93% more. 26.8 thousand hours of watch time. And then subscribers is 10% more than 2024, which is 2,400 new subscribers this year. So if we hit 2,500 new subscribers this year, by the end of the year, then yeah, we've had a good year overall. So, which is really cool because we're seeing constant growth. Exciting times. Is horizontal theater mode? No, I don't know what you mean by theater mode. So vertical would be essentially when you're scrolling through shorts, YouTube's going to feed lives in there. And so there's people who are live vertically, like mobile. And so that gets fed, and it's another way of being discovered, essentially. So on my end, I have two screens that shows what people see. So I have a vertical screen, like on a mobile device, people are watching. So that's all for, if you're watching on your phone, it's just going to be the size of your phone. So all the sides are cut out and all that stuff. So if I go out like this, I'll be out of the frame for the vertical mode, horizontal for, mobile again, but not in the vertical sense, and then computers and all that stuff. That's what I mean. You guys getting good weather in December is unfair, by the way. It's really sunny outside. It is a really nice 69 degrees right now. That's Fahrenheit for you Brits. And life is good, man. America rules. Don't hate on us. Do not hate on us. It's okay. Let's get your question numbers up here. Shake my head at whoever I want to shake my head at. Hey, Jerome, do me a favor and share this stream in our Discord group, please. Appreciate that. The United States was a favorable World Cup draw as well. Yeah, I thought it looked good. Let's do some World Cup predictions here. Matches, brackets, standings. Okay, this is what just Google showing this. Now this is gonna be crazy because the vertical folks aren't gonna be able to see this. I want to see what this looks like on the vertical end when I move my screen around like this. So yeah, I mean, there's some. The fourths aren't here, but because they haven't been selected yet. But we're looking at South Korea, Mexico, South Africa. Mexico has a good chance of advancing here. Canada will advance here. Switzerland might actually advance. I doubt Qatar is going to go through. Brazil, Haiti, Morocco, Scotland. This is intense. This is pretty cool because Morocco's playing good, but Scotland is as well. And I mean, they're going to be favorites to win the group, but I would say Morocco will get second. I don't think Scotland will get out of the group stages unless they upset. They have the talent to do some upsets, guys. They really do. So, it's going to be, these two are fighting for it. I think Haiti's going to lose all their games. Australia, Paraguay, USA. I think the US will get through. I think Paraguay will get through as well. It's Paraguay's first time in many, many years being in the World Cup, by the way. This group, I'm going for Germany, and I think Ecuador's had a pretty decent qualification thing. I could be wrong there. But I'd say Germany and Ecuador will come through. I'm not sure if the Ivory Coast will. Can't think of standout performers, even though I like the Ivory Coast. Japan, Netherlands, Tunisia. I'd say Netherlands, Japan. It'd be really cool seeing the Netherlands win the World Cup. Just because they've always competed, never won it. It'd be nice seeing a team win the World Cup that's never won it. Belgium, Egypt, Iran, New Zealand. Very interesting here. Iran might get through this group. Egypt, depending on how Salah does. If Salah performs the way he's been performing for Liverpool, they don't do anything. Group H, Spain and Uruguay will come through this, I think. Group I I think is very competitive. I think this is going to be a very competitive group, depending on who the fourth team is. But I would say this is very interesting here. Now, my thing is, I think Norway and France get through, but very interesting group. Over here, Algeria and Argentina will get through. These guys are not. I don't think Austria gets through. Here, Colombia and Portugal getting through. Portugal favorites to win the whole thing. It'd be very interesting seeing Portugal win it. If Portugal wins the World Cup, the Ronaldo-Messi conversation will be over, in my opinion. Ronaldo will be the GOAT. Now, whether he is or not doesn't matter. But if Portugal wins the World Cup, and they have a very good chance of winning the World Cup, there's no conversation there. Ronaldo's the GOAT, Messi's second. A Group L, very interesting, but I would say Croatia and England get through. My thoughts there on the World Cup. High chance Turkey lands in the USA group. There is. It's not Turkey, by the way. They want to be called Turkey A. Turkey A. Got a question. If there is a possible world in which you would have not become a Christian and God actualized this one, does that mean that you were determined in some way? Yes. I mean, you would. So that becomes a conversation about divine decree. Like even within a Molinism, within the Molinistic view of the world, yeah, I mean, it would mean that. So it's so funny. This is the second time in 2 days people have asked me this very similar questions to this. And so there's a good debate that happens amongst Molinists specifically, and the conversation is over the idea that God has actualized a world in which the most amount of people that do get saved, and that's freely. Now, that gets a little bit complicated when you're talking about individuals. Is it just like the numbers that we're looking at, or is it the individuals we're looking at? And there's this aspect of like this determinism coming in there. But yeah, I mean, if God was like, well, there is a possible world Arthur would get saved in, we're not going to actualize that. It seems to be the case, in my view, that God has actualized the world in which the people that don't get saved would not have gotten saved freely in any other possible world. God knowing their free choices and all that. So because it could become the part of the conversation, right? It could become the individual stands before God and God says, well, you never came to faith. And the individual says, well, God, you could have actualized the world in which I would have come to faith. And you didn't. And then the person says to God, essentially, why didn't you actualize that if you loved me so much? Now, if that's not the case, like if the person wouldn't have become a believer in any world, any possible world, then God can say, well, you wouldn't have chosen, like, I have all knowledge, you wouldn't have chosen any possible world. And so that even answers questions of like people who've never heard the gospel. Like, even if they had heard the gospel, they wouldn't repent, freely speaking. So there's an aspect of like freedom here that's included there that's important. So I was thinking about this earlier, but I sense that there's too many factors to measure. There is a lot of factors, and some people have written about this. So I think if you do kind of a research on mere Molinism versus just Molinism, speaking about God's actualization of any possible world, you'll come across some articles and stuff like that. That would be helpful. Good question. Good question one. No group of death? I'm not sure about that. I think it is possible that group I ends up being our group of death. Depending who goes here. I don't know what the possibilities are, by the way. You guys tell me if anybody knows. Depending who's the fourth seeded team in Group I, don't forget Norway's got you know who. And Senegal's got good talent. Like all you need for this group to like blow up essentially is like Senegal ties France. Right? Or Norway and France tie. And then one of these guys beats Norway or beats France. Like it could go insane. So I think depending on what the fourth team is, Group I could very well be our what's it called? Group of death. Okay. That's my thoughts on there. Don't think this would be an easy group either. Group F, depending on who's fourth. This might be a pretty intense group as well. That's Group F. Group F, ladies and gentlemen. So we got to wait and see who the teams are that end up getting those spots, and that'll change things up a lot. Do we know who can like get seated in those places? Because I know one of them is Ireland in, or is Ireland one of those teams? The Republic of Ireland? Yeah, like Ireland. I don't know where Ireland will end up. Right. So there's Denmark. Denmark's a good team. Okay, here are the teams that could end up in those places. I think Northern Ireland, Slovakia, Kosovo, Sweden, Ukraine, Denmark, Turkey, Ireland, Romania, Poland, Bosnia and Herzegovina, I think. Italy, come on, like Italy. Wales, Macedonia, North Macedonia, Czechia, Czech Republic, or Albania. Like, what? I didn't spell my title correctly? Go away. What are you talking about? Gosh, did I make a spelling error? Oh, I did. Friday. Okay, that's not as bad as I thought it was. It was like Friday. Fixed. Man, we got folks like sleeping in today, huh? Not joining us, not asking questions. Maybe that vertical thing isn't helping me. It's like suppressing me. I'm going to change my title right now. Go like this. We're going to make it 8 questions. I should change it up. I should write like, you guys are all horrible people. Prove me wrong. Should I do that? Should I write that? Atheists are the worst people on earth. Prove me wrong. Hey, look at that. People started coming in when I wrote, I changed the spelling. Interesting. Salt, what's going on from Washington, but here in Cali right now. Hey, man, good weather. Those are the potential teams. I mean, those are intense teams too. Okay, so Bolivia, Congo, Iraq, Jamaica, New Caledonia. So, like, there's some intense teams that can still make it. Speaking of football, Armenian football legend Nikita Simonian died recently. Yes, rest in peace. Rest in peace. Hello, everybody. Hope life is treating you all kindly. Saturday morning in Australia. Good day. Good day. Hey, Salva, I don't know if you know Dan Patterson. Do you know Dan? Dan does apologetics in Australia. He's a good friend. He's a good friend. We're gonna do a stream together here in the upcoming year. We got some really fun stuff set up in the upcoming year. We're gonna get back to podcasting, which means like I interview scholars. If you haven't checked out our podcast, please go and check out our podcast, man. Guys, I have 56 episodes in our podcast, and like, sad thing is that I have really, really top-notch scholars I've interviewed on various subjects, and it'd just be really beneficial to you guys. And you can see the progression of this channel and all that stuff. And they're fun to share with friends. Like, it's just scholarly stuff that we're giving out. No, don't know Dan P. Does he have a YouTube channel? He does. It's called Questioning Christianity. He does ministry. He does apologetics ministry in Australia. Yeah, Questioning Christianity. Yeah, Dan's the man. I've had Dan on. There it is. Thank you, Jerome. Jerome really likes Dan. He thinks Dan's a cool G. And he is. Very cool dude, Dan. Dude, I don't know why now, like, my numbers are fluctuating now. It's really, really weird. Can you look, if you're in the chat, just do me a favor, because I'm comparing numbers, and what's being shown on YouTube is very different than what's being shown on Ecamm. If you're in here, you're engaged, you're listening, can you just put in the number 1 in the chat? Just hit enter. 1, enter. That's it. Just want to know, like we're taking roll, right? Like Bobby, present. Timothy, present, right? You guys get that? And Sean's back with nonsense. God was a storm god. He means to say Yahweh was a storm god. So he probably climate changing. Stop bringing nonsense, recycled stuff from Myth Vision and posting it here. We're not going to treat it with respect. It's absolute junk. Wanted to share with you, Arthur, the subscription. Sorry. I wanted to share with you, Arthur, the subscription means nothing in the YouTube world. No, I know that. Well, that's not true. Okay. It's the views you incur that matter. Circulate the algorithms too. Okay. So Salwa, I've been watching like a ridiculous amount of YouTube growth kind of stuff. It's not that subscriptions don't matter. It's they don't matter as much as they did. Okay. And you're right. Views are the thing. It's not, I wouldn't even say it's views, by the way. And many people wouldn't say it's views. It's actually watch time that matters. So if you have a video and people are if your video is 30 minutes and your video gets watched by 20,000 people and they watch 90% of it, that's like gold in the YouTube world. But it's still a metric. It's really cool. And so that's why I mentioned the subscriptions. We want to hit 10,000. And ideally, you're going to get people who subscribe. Hopefully, they'll watch your stuff, and so on and so forth. So it's not that they don't mean anything, but they're not as important as they once were. That's definitely true. I've been monitoring your numbers when I'm on your lives. Thanks. There's really no more than 20 or less at a time. Yet, look at your subscription. It doesn't make sense mathematically. That's because lives are not like that. Like, so I'll give you an example. Mike Winger, big shout out to Mike Winger. So you can do a percentage thing here. Okay, I'll actually here. What's his name is on? Apologetics Roadshow is on. So I'm not going to play it. Okay, so check this out. And David gets good numbers. So David's on right now. He's live right now. Okay. Should I be in prison is his title, there's a lot of attraction around this, right? Like David has 390,000 subscribers. There's 1,800 people watching. Do the math. Does that make sense? Right. Mike Winger has almost 1 million subscribers. He's got 932,000 subscribers. Is he doing a live today? I don't see anything set up. But Mike does lives, and he'll get 2,000 people in there watching. Right? So, in regards to what you're saying, I mean, just look at the percentages there. 10,000 versus whatever 20, 30. We've gotten more than that definitely, but my titles aren't as exciting. When they are, we get more people. Christians subscribing for support. There's people who subscribe for support. Yeah, there's no question about that. But here, I'll give you there's a video premiering. It's like we can do this all day. There's a video premiering right now on Sean McDowell's channel. And I'm using these things because they're in my niche, okay? They're like in the apologetics niche. Sean McDowell's got a video right now from aggressive atheist to Jesus follower. This is a interview he did. It's live premiering. And he's got 370,000 subscribers. He's got 141 people watching right now. Do the math. Do the math in regards to us having 9,000 subscribers and 10 people watching or 20 people watching. It's essentially the same. YouTube farming on drama. So Jerome, you're wrong here, man. He's kind of like Muhammad. He's nothing like Muhammad, Sean. You don't know what you're talking about. So Jerome, it's not farming. There are because you're not in the conversation. I am. There is legitimate arguments that Christians are making about restitution. The Old Testament sets up restitution and so on and so forth. And that apologizing and repenting is still not enough, is the argument, is you still need to be punished. You've gotten away with it, essentially, is what the argument is. And so there's people arguing that David should go to the police and turn himself in, go to jail, and or whatever the punishment for that would be and all that stuff. So it's not farming at all. It is just a very, very legit conversation about what does justice look like. So just don't jump the gun immediately thinking that you know what's going on, my younger friend. I mean, you call me a dinosaur regularly. So I'll respond to you by saying, hey man, you're young, know your place. Don't come to conclusion too hastily. know some details. I get all that. I'm just not that fussed about substance. Yeah. No, amen to that. It's a cool metric. And we do like cool giveaways and stuff. So we want to hit 10,000 so we can do a giveaway. When we hit certain benchmarks, we do some giveaways and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to that and focusing on that. So it doesn't matter very much. It's who the Lord brings along. I've been in ministry way too long to lose track of what God is doing at all. So thanks for the reminder, but these guys communicating. The world has absolutely lost his mind. Look. These are younger folks. Look, this guy doesn't know how to write words. He just puts emojis. This guy's got aliens and dinosaurs. And what is that? I don't know. Is that a dragon? Dragon. They're just communicating to each other. You know, Idiocracy, the movie, if anybody hasn't seen it, go see it. You know, it's maybe the way our future is going to be. But I thought about that independently of this Christian ethics conversation. Well, it's not just a Christian ethics conversation. That plus, it is also like the Old Testament justice restitution conversation. It's more of a biblical conversation as well as a Christian ethical philosophical conversation. What does repentance look like? Okay, what does repentance look like? So that's very, very important. And people have legitimate claims of saying, hey, this whole situation with David, are these things going to get done? Is he getting away with it? X, Y, and Z. So I'll watch that. I think that David made a really, really good video the other day. I actually commented on it. Let's see if we can pull this up. I don't even know if I talked to you guys about this the other day. David made a video in which I think he just destroys Islam again. And here's, so it says that the video's thumbnail says it's a pedo paradise. They finally admitted everything and it's worse than you thought. And David essentially, what he does in this video, he says, look, all of these Muslim apologists have been calling me these names, saying I'm this, I'm that. And he goes, I'm going to grant them everything they've said. And then he flips the script and then says, well, what would they call Muhammad for all the stuff he does? He calls the Quran, hadiths and all that stuff. But I wrote in the comments here. What did I write? How come I'm not showing up here, man? Come on. I guess I haven't gone. So I wrote in the comments, David Wood's life has become a biblical parable in which it is being used to destroy Islam. And that's, yeah. Trump is the leader of the idiocracy. Oh, man. Sean, what's up with you guys who don't live in America being so obsessed with like American politics? Like, go obsess over your own politics is what I would say. There's a pastor that was arrested. There's a pastor that was arrested in Canada. I haven't followed up with these things for some stuff. I think there was a Christian teacher who was arrested and given life in prison for being a transphobe in Ireland, I think. Like, Sean, you should focus on that. Don't you think? I think. Let's see. Christian arrested and given life in prison for transphobia. Yeah, it's in Ireland. Yahoo's got a fact check on this. Let's see. I saw a headline there, so I could be wrong. Fact check. Irish Christian teacher Enoch Burke was not sentenced to life in prison. Let's see. for transphobia. What was he sentenced for? This is Yahoo fact-checking me. Sentenced to life in prison and refusing to use a transgender student's pronouns. No, that's not true. The sentencing judge explicitly stated that the decision is about the repeated contempt of court. So, I love this stuff. Technicalities are very interesting. The sentencing judge explicitly stated that the decision is about the repeated contempt of court for repeatedly ignoring an order to not trespass on school property. The same judge said Burke does not have to accept transgenderism to leave jail. He only needs to stop trespassing on other people's property, which according to court materials was a court order Burke violated multiple times over the years. So we send him to prison for life. Interesting. Like that still seems pretty heavy-handed, does it not? Like I don't know the details of this case, but that's interesting. That's very interesting. I'm just saying, like, you guys are so obsessed with Trump, where like there's really, really insane decisions being made in your countries. Like, look at England, man. Look at the sort of decisions that are being made in England when it comes to protecting Islam and criticism of Islam. People are going to get sick and tired of these things. I'm telling you, it's going to be bad. People think they're doing good, but they don't realize how frustrating they are becoming to other folks. And they're not handling these situations in the proper way. And it's going to become a problem. And not that Trump is somehow sinless or something like that. I mean, he said a really, really dumb thing the other day. Really stupid. No Christian, in my opinion, should back up. He made a comment about Somalis, I believe. And it should be rebuked. Nobody should be speaking about any human being like that. And there are way, way, way better ways of speaking about those situations. So maybe I'll talk about it. I was planning on talking about this because I heard about it like 2 days ago. And spoke to a friend today about it as well. But I was planning on talking about that the whole Trump thing on Monday when Tom's on. Because, he's a Trump apologist and stuff. So we want to get Tom. We want to go after him. We want to demolish him. I'm also going to make him read an apology letter on Monday. Ireland runs on American multinational companies. Well, why don't you just become, do a referendum, take a vote, and just become the 51st state? I'm sure Trump would love to have Ireland be one of the states of the United States. You don't like it, kick them out. Be like, we don't want any Americans here. We don't want them in our country. Go back to where you came from, Americans. We're going to run our own things. Like it's too much random complaining, man. Like, man up. Take care of your own stuff. Trump and U.S. are larger, therefore more attention. Okay. I don't know whether that's necessarily true. Brazil's pretty large. Y'all aren't interested in Brazilian politics, really. Yeah, whatever it is that you guys do over there, Revolution. It smells like revolution. I mean, Australia is gigantic. Why aren't you guys talking about Australian politics? Trump is really losing the plot. I know you may think Trump is a Christian. I don't think Trump is a Christian. I've actually multiple times stated that Trump is not a Christian in that he doesn't understand the basics of the gospel. So I very, very clearly have communicated I don't think Trump is a Christian. So I'll reiterate, I don't think Trump is a Christian. I know you may think Trump is a Christian, But his fruits you shall know. I'm sorry, I don't think Trump is, and the cult of Trump is disturbing. Okay, Trump, and that's me sharing the above as a conservative Christian. I would have voted. I would have voted for the man. Yeah, I voted for him. He's not a Christian. I think there's people who follow Trump that are disturbing as well. Like, I don't necessarily disagree with that. Some people take it too much, right? Some people take that too much. And yeah, if you can't call out people for being wrong, there's a problem there when they're clearly wrong. I don't know anybody in my circles. Okay, so I'm very, very small group of folks. Extremely conservative people. Probably all, if not all of them, voted for Trump. I don't know any of them that would say Trump is a Christian. But the majority of Christians supported him. Of course. I mean, did you see the other side? Did you see the other side? I think, based on very, very little evidence, that someone was drinking a lot of booze. And I mean, look at the people that Trump has put into office. I think it's been highly beneficial for Christians in the United States. Like, even simple stuff, like you see these comparisons between Christmas under Biden and Christmas under Trump. It's very, very interesting. I mean, Trump's not a Christian. Yeah, Christians supported him because he put other Christians in places of power and decision making, and folks have made good decisions. Have they made perfect decisions? No. Did Biden make perfect decisions? These aren't complicated matters. Just, you can do very simple comparisons. Did Obama make good decisions? Was Obama bombing, like drone bombing a bunch of people, good decisions? Like, do we forget about that? The Paula White is a heretical of all heretics. That's true. My Lebanese will come out here. I apologize ahead of time. She's vile. Sorry, but not sorry. Yeah. Amen. I don't think Trump should have any of those people around him. Like, especially the prosperity gospel folks. They're a mess. Your defense of war leader is a joke. Again, sorry, but not sorry. You guys looked into him. I'm so confused what this comment is about. I have Sandra. Your defensive war leader. Okay. I'm guessing there's some spelling things there. You don't have to keep saying again, sorry, not sorry. Like, you don't have to be sorry at all. Just say what you got to say. Will he invade Venezuela? Maybe. That might actually happen. Might as well mention it here. Someone that I know in your country ended up leaving Christianity, and part of this is because he thought that he needed to heavily support the Republicans. Okay, so I don't buy that. I'm sorry. I don't buy that. I think that's just crap, bro. You could totally develop a biblical case. Many have. That the Bible calls you to be apolitical, not involved in politics. And you can actually you can have a pretty decently strong case for Christians aren't to be involved in any of this stuff. That the Bible speaks against governments, what it calls Babylon, and the way humans do things. I don't buy it. I think that's an excuse, and I think there are underlying reasons. And you didn't say this is the entire reason. You said part of the reason is. I would say there's other reasons, and he's using that as a talking point, but it's really not a talking point. There'll be some way more serious issues than that. Candace is wrong 70% of the time. Candace is wrong 90% of the time. No question about it in my mind. Candace is, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Hey man, what's going on? I'm not a good communicator when it comes to long email chains, and I'm really not interested in talking about Candace Owens. I have way too many important things going on everyone I know that's close to the situation, and there are very trustworthy people that are close to the situation, are pretty heavily talking. We will see what happens, because TPUSA came out and made a statement, and they invited Candace to go and sit with them. And I think Candace does armchair journalism, and it's bad and wrong in many, many ways. So yeah, I'll keep my thoughts there. Yeah, I'd really, if you email me about Candace Owens, I'm not going to respond. Or I'll just respond by saying, I'm not really interested in discussing Candace. I've watched enough of Candace to know how nuts she is. Yeah. Do I watch her? No, because I don't watch illogical individuals making leaps in their logic. So yeah, I don't sit there all the time and watch Candace Owens. But I've watched enough of her to know her logic is off the wall whack. Candace Owens is the new Alex Jones. I watched Alex Jones and for a certain period of time, and then I realized this guy's cuckoo, and I stopped watching him. Why would I watch Alex Jones? Right? I watched enough of Candace Owens and to be yeah, I'm not going to waste my time. By the way, and it's not just on this issue. This is why I don't watch, I rarely watch Tucker Carlson stuff. Because I think it's not good. I've watched enough to know the guy can't do proper interviews. And there's something off when he invites his guests on and never pushes them properly. Is there a difference in pronunciation between Armenian and Armenian? Yes, there is. I just did it. So Armenian, ethnicity, nationality, what I am. Armenian, theological perspective, what people accuse me of being. And yeah, I can see. depending on what they mean by that. I can say yes to it and or no. What's up? Can I have a question? Yes. You can ask a question. Can I ask a question that uses the Shamoon Wood fiasco as a jumping point? Sure. Yeah. No problemo. The water crisis in Iran is wild. That is true. There is a water crisis. Armenia has a lot of water. If they want, we can sell it to them. And I think Armenia does, if I'm not mistaken. She would make a great flat earth influencer. That's good. I haven't responded. I told you I wasn't going to respond to your email till like today. So at one point today, I will respond to your email. The second email I will respond to. There's definitely other reasons, but he thought that being a Christian obligated him to unilaterally support my... Like, why? Like, I can't, Jerome. This is nuts. It doesn't matter what he thought. Like, honestly, it really irritates me because I hate lousy excuses. Like, was this guy going to church? How mature was he? Was he a legitimate Christian? Did he not like sit there and think for 30 minutes that there are Christians who don't support Trump and have serious issues that he thinks, oh, everybody around me tells me that I got to be supporting Trump unilaterally. I can't. Christianity's not for me, and then leave Christianity. That's just crap, bro. I don't buy it. Like I said, I don't buy it at all. And forgive me for not being very sympathetic to it, because I think the logic behind it is so flawed that he could have had a 30-minute conversation with a decently educated, theologically minded pastor, or 5, or listened to, I don't know, 10 people on these issues, and then realize that this is not somehow a Christian biblical obligation. As a matter of fact, I can defeat everything he's saying on one verse from the Bible. One verse, right? And that has to do with your conscience. Like let me put it this way. If eating meat violates my conscience, Paul says, do not eat meat. Okay? Do not eat meat. It's better for you to go hungry than to violate your conscience. And I'm paraphrasing here, right? If that's about meat, and then I realize as a Christian, it's violating my conscience to vote for said political party, it would stand the same way to say, then I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to get involved in this. I don't want to violate against my conscience, because violating my conscience, it makes it like I'm sinning against my conscience, and that's sinning against God. I'm going to live under guilt, so I don't do it. Done. You don't need anything else. And people walking around saying, oh, I felt obligated to support MAGA and stuff like that. It's nonsense, man. It's an absolute excuse. And yeah, I'm not going to be sympathetic towards it. Bye-bye. Would have Christians voted for Trump if he was atheist with similar policies? Yes. Yes, I think so. Trump's not a Christian. Legitimate Christians understand Trump is not a Christian. Trump makes claims and statements where it's obviously the case that he's not a Christian. He doesn't understand the gospel. And yes, if he was an atheist and he was putting into place conservative Christians, like putting into political office conservative Christians, titled the stream, Christian Destroys Liberal Atheist with one verse. See, that's not truthful. Like, we just the conversation we're having. By the way, this isn't me defending him. I know that, Jerome. I just, like, if he said that to me, I would have said, like, man up. Stop giving me crap. Like, stop it. Because that is not the reason. That shouldn't even be a part of your thinking in regards to leaving Christianity. At all. There's so many other decisions you could make before you think about, I got to leave Christianity. That's why I think it's a lame excuse. If it was in my country, none of that would work. Exactly. If it was in any other country, none of that would work. If it was in the first century, none of that would work. The thing is, like, I've heard multiple people say things like that. And what comes to the surface, Obama claimed to be a Christian as well. Yeah. Yes, he did. So here's the thing, Jerome. What ends up being the case is you have a little bit of a conversation and you realize, they think Christianity is too harsh on the LGBTQ stuff. They think they want to sleep with their girlfriend. They got unanswered questions about, I don't know, God's existence and the resurrection. Like, then the real stuff comes to the surface. And I'm like, so why are you giving me this junk? Be a man. Give me the real stuff. Tell me I'm not sure this happened, or I think Christianity, like, I don't think the Bible should talk about people's sexuality or something. Like, give me those things. That's what ends up becoming, like, that's what I've witnessed over the years, like, especially with this MAGA stuff. Who cares about the truth? We're here to polarize the masses and profit. Yeah, you didn't ask your question about, you said you were going to ask a question about the Shamoon Wood fiasco as a jumping point. But you haven't said anything. Okay, there it is. Okay. With the allegations against Shamoon and general concerns about his behavior, especially when disagreeing with someone, at what point should one consider 1 Corinthians 5? Mm-hmm. At one point, I mean, at all points, I would say. At the beginning, I mean, yeah, when that was shared, because as far as I know, and I haven't seen much of Sam's stuff responding to this, so you guys might know better, but as far as I know, there were things that just Sam hasn't spoken about. He hasn't denied it. He hasn't justified it. He hasn't done it. He just hasn't spoken about it. I mean, if it's not true, then I know he said, defamation, all this stuff. If it's not true, he should come out and say, no, I didn't do any of those things that were claimed. If he did do those things, then yeah, I think there's an issue there. There's definitely an issue there that needs to be covered. Like, I don't know details. Like I said, I've had a very cordial relationship with Sam. Like, I don't, does anybody know if Sam goes to church? Who his priest is? Can people approach his priest and bring those things up? What does it look like? I don't know. There's all sorts of questions that could come up. And I'd say the same thing about David, right? Like, the difference is these things are in the past. Some of it's in the present. So even forget some of the allegations and all that stuff, like just when it comes to disagreeing and him, cussing people out and all that stuff, I just don't think that's Christ-like behavior. And I've said that for a very long time. I don't think it's Christ-like at all. I mean, Sam literally prays regularly on his streams that God would help him not to do that stuff. And so it needs to be controlled. Say the same thing about anyone. I would say the same thing about myself. Right? Like, it's not that difficult to find what church I go to and who my pastor is and who my elders are and all that. Yeah, okay, this is a very good example. Genuinely, I love Arnold because I've still not met a Christian like him who decides to politically act in the ways that he does. Changed how I view a lot of things. Yeah. Arnold's a very good example. He's a very dear friend. I disagree with him on a bunch of stuff when it comes to politics. We go to the same church. Like, the guy makes my website. And we have these discussions. And so when people come to me and they're like, well, I felt like I got to support X, Y, and Z. Nonsense. What do you think about Andrew Wilson and Christian nationalism? Well, it depends on how you define Christian nationalism. There's no one definition of Christian nationalism. I did a podcast interview with two guys that are philosophers on this subject. You should go check it out. I did it around election time. If you haven't seen it, it's probably worth the watch. Here, I'll put it up on the screen so you know what I'm talking about. It's episode 51 of the Apologetics. Episode 51 here. And one of the authors wrote a book on Christian nationalism right here. It's called AC, episode 51. American Christian Nationalism, Dr. Michael Austin and Douglas Guyvett, Dr. Douglas Guyvett. And then you can also buy Mike's book, American Christian Nationalism, Neither American Nor Christian. That gets you to know what Mike's views on some of these things are. I would say Mike is center left leaning in his politics. Very nuanced on a lot of different stuff. He's a dear brother in the Lord. I love hanging out with Mike. He's challenging in many ways. I disagree with him on a lot of different stuff. And we talk about that. And one of the things we talk about is that Christian nationalism is not a term that has actually a definition. People use it differently and define it differently. That's why people can't kind of put their finger on it. And what do I think about Andrew Wilson? I made a video recently, Sean. You should go check it out, where I speak about Andrew Wilson a little bit. And and you get the answers there. All of those other things were mentioned by him as well. Actually, I pointed this one out because U.S. politics are so heavy. That it's because it causes people to think that to serve God means supporting that guy. Yeah, that's nonsense if anybody actually thinks that. It's absolute stupidity. You're very welcome. Does Arnold have a channel? No, Arnold does not have a channel. Who do you tend to pull for in the World Cup? The older I've gotten, somebody actually texted me and asked me this. The older I've gotten, the less I am pulling for people in the World Cup. I just enjoy watching the sport. And I don't know. We'll see. The episode was over a year ago. Yeah, because Trump's been elected for almost a year. But that's the thing. It's like I've spoken into these things. I've always been a fan of nuancing, thinking properly, carefully. Even when Tom's here next to me, you'd see those disagreements come up. Where can you hear more about this Arnold guy? I don't know, become friends with him? What do you want me to say? He comes to my church. He's a good friend. Discord. He's in our Discord server. So if you're there, Arnold would be a decent guy to talk about. Arnold's extremely conservative on a lot of things. But the way he acts his politics out or refuses to is very, very different than the way I do it. But yeah. Arnold's going to become a legend. Where is he? Arnold, where are you, man? Are you watching? He's usually watching. People want to meet you, Arnold. Maybe I'm the dinosaur now. You will soon become a dinosaur, Jerome. Don't worry about it. You are more than a dinosaur. You are a... I don't know, something other than dinosaur. You're a crocodile, Mr. Grinch. Jerome the dinosaur. I'm just curious about what I've heard about his political posture. Yeah, join the Discord. Be like, hey, Arnold, I want to talk to you. Challenge him to a duel. Like, join the Discord and tag him in there and say, I challenge you to a duel. Explain the mystery of iniquity. I have no idea what you're talking about, Jamie. Why does one man believe and not another? Is that the mystery of iniquity? Why does one man believe and not the other? I can't believe people actually have conversations over these sort of things. In the sense that people are different. I mean, there's people that don't believe because they love their sin and want to live in it. There's people that don't believe because they don't want to be told what to do. There's people that don't believe because they legitimately don't think there's good evidence to believe. Yeah. I mean, so in regards to the second question, it's, I don't think we can speak about that generally speaking. In regards to the first question, I mean, and I answered that as a non-reformed person, by the way. So if I was reformed, the answer would be super easy. And people don't believe because they're not elected, and so they don't believe. And that's an answer. Could be true. I don't know. I don't think it is, but it might be. In regards to the mystery of iniquity, I don't, like, what are you talking about? What's the mystery of iniquity? I'm not used to that kind of terminology, or that specific one. Mystery of iniquity is how and where and when did sin come from? Generally speaking, sin came from the rebellion against God by humanity. When did it come about? I don't know. I mean, since I'm not a young earth creationist, I don't know whether I would put a when there. How and where? When human beings rebelled against God. And I can even be more specific and say it came about in the garden when human beings rebelled against God. That's how. When? I don't know. I don't know whether I could be like right on when it comes to the timeline. Do you think there was any sin before Adam and Eve that was committed? The only way you can think about that, and maybe it's an unfair answer to your question, Jamie, would be like sin committed by, like rebellious sin committed by angels. Like that would have been before Adam and Eve. But in regards to humanity, no. I don't think there was sin committed by Adam and Eve. Sorry, by humanity before Adam and Eve. That just doesn't seem like it makes any sense. Okay. I will say that he also thought that him voting Democrat as a Christian was a priori untenable because of LGBTQ. So that informs the heavy... Yeah, but the thing is that he can always refrain from doing so. It's not this, like it's either this or that. You have a third choice of completely refraining. And you can have justification for doing so, and the justification can be entirely focused on one verse when it comes to violating your conscience. Never violate your conscience. It is better, many times it is better not to do something than to do it and feel guilty over it. Okay? A duel like Alexander Hamilton, if he's Armenian, then it's a no. He is Armenian. You all are too powerful. Horovats gives you too much strength. Oh, gosh. Unironically, this might be a good criticism of the two-party system. I agree to a certain extent. And the polarizing conversations that come from it. I just thought about that a few seconds ago. Good thinking. So you reject the idea that there was an angelic revelation. Okay. See, Jamie, like your question is misleading to a certain extent. And that's why I said what I said. Online discourse is so funny to me. It's like you asked me a question whether I thought there was, like the context is human beings. It's Adam and Eve. And then you're like, all this stuff. And then I'm answering it. And I knew like, you're going to be like, well, what about the angels? And it's like, so you reject it. No, I don't reject it. You've said in this stream that you're neither Armenian nor Reformed. What is your view? Well, I said actually that some people would consider me Armenian. So I would consider myself to be more in line with what I would call Wesleyan theology. Now, sometimes people just assume that John Wesley is like Armenian. And I don't think he necessarily is the way that Jacobus Arminius is set out to be. But I prefer the Wesleyan version of it. Let me just put it that way. But I'm also, when it comes to human freedom and the whole conversations about predestination, all that stuff, I believe in Molinism. Okay, now Molinism is not a soteriological view per se. That's where the Wesleyanism kind of comes in. But Molinism helps answer all the question one has in life ever. 5 + 5. Molinism. 10. 2 × 2. Molinism. 4. Is water wet? Molinism. Yes. Telling you. Answers every question. Does God exist? Molinism. Yes. Arthur, we never discussed Armenia's World Cup qualification and losing to Portugal because it's great shame. That's why we never discussed it. They lost to Portugal 9-1. Yes. Yeah, how we beat Ireland, and then we go, and they go and beat Hungary and Portugal in the same window. It was a mess. It was an absolute mess. Yes. Where we at? Where we at, chat? What's up, chat? We good? Chat, come on, chat. Football is a cruel, cruel, cruel sport. 9-1. I think the problem with Armenia's national team is that a vast majority of the players don't speak Armenian. Or I should say it like this. A vast majority of the players do not speak the same language. You have folks in the national team that only speak Russian. You have folks who only speak Armenian. You have folks who speak Spanish, people who speak German and Dutch, some English. So it's kind of weird. And they also play, most of them play outside of Armenia. And I think bringing them together for that, it becomes really complicated. I've been meaning to ask you. Go ahead. Ask. I've been meaning to ask, as I had a huge debate with a fellow brother regarding the rebellion in heaven. Did it take place before the creation of man or another time? If we're gonna think about the serpent in Genesis is the devil, because John in the book of Revelation refers to the devil and says the devil, which is the serpent of old, which is a reference to Genesis chapter 3, then you already have a rebellion set up. Now, I'm guessing the conversation with your friend included a passage where Jesus sends out the disciples and they come back and they report, and Jesus says, "Behold, I saw Satan fall down from heaven." I think that has to do with Satan's power being challenged, and Satan is no longer, with the inauguration of the gospel and the preaching of the word of God and the gospel coming in power and in authority in word and in deed, that Satan no longer has the sort of power that he once did. So some people think that's when the fall of Satan is happening, and I think that they're just misinterpreting the text. I think that whole rebellion happened prior. You can say prior to creation, you can say after creation at some point, but the devil's already rebelled, I think, by the time we get to the garden. When did the old covenant end and the new covenant begin? That's a very good question. People aren't entirely in agreement on this. Usually what people will say is between like Jesus' death and the destruction of the temple. So it's like a period of time. And I think that's reasonable. I think we have, like, from the ministry of Jesus. So Jesus inaugurates the new covenant, right? He comes bearing good news, preaching the gospel, the good news, telling people repent and believe. So Jesus inaugurates this new way of doing things, and then dies, resurrects, and now people are being invited into the new covenant. But I think the old covenant is ultimately done away with when the temple is destroyed. I think that's a pretty good way of thinking about it. Very good question, Jamie. Excellent. Arthur, will either of your sons play for Armenia in the future? Very, very good question. Now, we've actually talked about this because my kids qualify for a lot of different countries. So my children actually, if they were to, we're dreaming here, if my kids were able to to become professional soccer players, and I've had this serious conversation with my kids, my kids qualify for 3 different countries on 3 different continents. And so they obviously qualify for the United States because they're born in the United States, which would put them in this region and continent. And so their competitions will be limited to CONCACAF. They would qualify for Armenia because I was born in Armenia and their mom's Armenian. And in that they will be in Europe and be able to compete for European stuff, but they're playing arguably for a weaker team, like the United States would be a stronger team, easier to get into the World Cup and things of that sort. Armenia, they're in Europe, competing in Europe, but more difficult to get into European competitions in the World Cup. And they will also qualify. They can also qualify for Iran because my wife was born in Iran, and that would put them in Asia. And I mean, Iran does a pretty decent job in dominating the Asian League. And I've asked my son this, my oldest, and he's essentially had that kind of thing. Like, do I want to play for the States and be in the World Cup? But I'm also Armenian. I want to represent, but that gives me European competition. Like, he's actually like thought about this and struggled about it a little bit. Look, frankly put, sometimes it's not even your choice because there might be a country that calls you up and you just got to make the decision that you're given in the moment. Not a lot of players don't have an option between, like, the countries aren't pursuing them at the same time. But look, man, hopefully we'll have that thing to worry about in the future. Who knows? Maybe it'll be like the Boateng brothers, you know, like one will play for one country and the other one will play for another country. Be very interesting. Arthur, have you ever discussed your history with soccer? Do you ever play seriously? So I played growing up. I had a really bad injury when I was in 10th grade. I broke my left arm straight through both bones. And so I couldn't mentally get back into playing and continuing. So I don't think I ever like really hit my peak and continued developing. Also, when I was playing in the States, there wasn't a lot of serious academies. Now it's like way better. Like with my kids, way better. So I've always loved the sport. I stopped playing in 2002. I picked it back up in 2006. So I wasn't playing for 4 years because I was scared I was going to hurt myself. And then have just recreationally played. Love the sport, understand the sport pretty decently, I think. And if I had a lot of time on my hands, I'd coach. Like seriously coach. But I don't and I can't. So, but I speak into my kids' lives and about it and all that stuff. But no, I never played like semi-pro or anything like that. But like, I'm decent. Been decent. Jamie's approving of my answers to these questions. I think when he died, God didn't accept sacrifices anymore. Yeah, I mean, once the curtain is ripped, right? Like that's why I think it's a process. I think once the curtain is ripped, then there's access to the throne room of God freely, and so the sacrifice is done. But in regards to the covenant, like that generation sort of thing, I do think there's a time period, and then the ultimate kind of end to it comes in 70 AD. And I think this is partly why the book of Hebrews talks about the old covenant passing away, is because they're in that period. Evening all, sorry I'm late. I was catching D Woods live, but I couldn't watch anymore as my defensive nature was starting to manifest. I know he doesn't need it, but I respect him. I'll probably end up watching that later and see what David's saying. Wow, I was scouted by AFC Bournemouth as a goalkeeper. Man, come on now. So what happened? Actually, my son, last year, Bournemouth came out to the States and they did a training camp here and stuff like that. And so my son went to that, and it was a really good experience. Arthur has a great right foot, but I've never seen him make a single pass. Wow. 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 You don't open my mouth. Do not open my mouth. Oh, I'm going to choke you. This guy, the audacity. Oh. The audacity, this man. Wide open goals served to him on a platter. I gave it to him. I bowed. I said, sir, do it. Shoot it. Get your goals. Swings and misses. Kane Philosophy, what's going on? Blessing. I didn't know they could play for Iran. That's cool, yeah. Arthur, I will never forget the coaches that I saw when I was with you. That old coach was so aggressive. That's true. Yeah. Hey, but Jerome, there were some fun games you saw. That was really cool that you witnessed those games. It was, and specifically, like my son played pretty decently. So, it was nice that you got to see him, and you were pretty impressed. Tell the chat that you were pretty impressed with the skills. That, by the way, I should add that even though Jerome played very little with us, Jerome's skilled. He can play, but he had eaten too much Korean food before that. Was it Korean food? I think it was. And then he didn't feel so well when we started playing because he stuffed himself like an American on Thanksgiving. He just saw food in America in large quantities and abundance. And he said, oh, in England, there are regulations about the amount of food we can eat and consume. And so he said, I'm going to indulge myself. And didn't feel so well. I'm going to block Yerv. I'm going to block Yervon for saying stuff like that to me. Arthur never passes the ball. Well, yeah, if you got something in front of you that can finish, I'll pass him the ball. Narek's not in here. Narek would defend me if he was in here. Yeah, and then when Arsenal lost to Bournemouth shortly after that, you instigated and sent me a picture of Avo in a Bournemouth shirt. That's true. I did. So for context, I wasn't a Christian. I was smoking and drinking on the goal line. No. I had the best defensive record for 3 seasons out of 70 games. Only 9 goals conceded. Dude. I've had so many conversations with extremely talented athletes, and specifically soccer players that are coaches now and stuff. And they were really good when they were 14, 15, 17 years old. And what was not so good about their lives is that they were drinking, smoking, and chasing girls. And I've had guys come up to me and see my son play and say, just keep him away from those things. He'll have a decent future. Yeah, man. You know, especially when you're a good athlete, you're in good shape, you're probably popular, then you start getting all the wrong kinds of attention. That's why character matters, guys. That is why character matters. I mean, professional athletes fall victim to this. That's why Christian character properly matters. Thanksgiving is a great holiday, by the way. I would say Thanksgiving is a very Christian holiday. Like there ought to be times in our year where we come together and we thank God for what we have. So, how is he going to score a hat trick in 10 minutes and then get moved to play center back? Yeah. And they were nice goals too. That was it was like enough scoring. Go away. But I think he was also, because you were there, Jerome, I think he was also trying to impress you. He didn't say that, but I think that was in the back of his mind. Hey, I said, you have a great strike on you. However, if you come and see, now I'm putting those away. It was my first time playing after. Okay, I'll come and see. I'll come and pass you the ball. Let's see if you can finish him. Arthur, I can argue that it was your fault that I was sick. You brought me there. Yeah, but nobody said you need to indulge yourself by eating 85 pounds of raw red meat. By the way, I'm playing, guys. But he did feel sick. That was at 20. Too much food. Australian football beats soccer. This is Australian rules football. Dan Patterson, who I mentioned, Dan plays Australian rules football. I had no idea what it is. And man, that thing looks awesome. That's a giant pitch. That was crazy when Dan introduced me to it. That was very interesting. I wouldn't play that sport. Yeah, I really did enjoy the food though. Yeah, we enjoyed having you here as well. Yeah, look up, guys, if you have look up Australian football, and it is way better than American football. That's 100% sure. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. You lied to them all and said, yeah, I told all the kids on my son's soccer team that Jerome was a scout for Arsenal. He was there to check out some talent. You should have seen it. It was pretty funny. I was also the only keeper who scored 5 goals for the team. One legendary one from halfway line. It's not bad. You know who I remember? Jose Luis Chilavert, the Paraguayan goalkeeper. Anybody remember Jose Luis Chilavert? Some of you guys might be way too young, but look him up. He used to take all the team's free kicks and penalties. He'd get a lot of goals, man. I think like they try to make him president or something like that. I'm pretty sure he's still alive. Aussie rules. It's not rugby. It is not rugby. Hey, Nick Quint's in the house. What's up, big dog Nick? How you doing, bro? Nick, have you done any streams recently? And why haven't you? Nick Quint, let's see. Last video, 6 months ago. 5 months ago, last video. The Bible is supernatural. Okay, born of God. Okay, and then lives. Last one he did 8 months ago, live video. Nick, I know you've had a child and all that. Gonna give you a look, Nick. Have you heard of hurling sport? Bro, this isn't Braveheart, man. How far can you throw a rock? How can you apply Molinism to spiritual formation? Easily. Check this out. Spiritual formation, the way you are formed into the image and likeness of Jesus Christ. Molinism. Done. That's how. No, on a serious note. I would say that because God knows the way we would freely react to any given situation, that God actually brings about situations in our lives, good or bad, in order that we choose freely to be formed into Christ likeness and accomplish God's purposes of formation. Like that's one way I would apply it. Oh, Mr. Teacher. Hang on. No, man, I'm sure it's Australian. Hang on. Yeah, AFL. That's what I was. No, I was referring to AFL too. That's the one with the gigantic oval field. No. Hang on. Could be wrong. Yeah, AFL. No, that's AFL is. Yeah, I was referring to AFL too. I think that's what Dan plays. Crazy sport. Man's sport. Okay. You should look up Rogerio Ceni too. That guy set pieces for Sao Paulo. Yeah, I just really liked Jose Luis Chilavert. I really, really liked them. I think I've seen videos of this guy. Yeah, so yeah, those are the two top guys. Check this out. In regards to goals, look at this. These are the like goal scorers, the goalkeepers from 1980s. Look at Chilavert. Look at him. There he is. Man, goalies need to score more, man. Schmeichel scored 6 goals? What? No way. They need to bring this back. We need to see more goalies scoring goals. Look at this. I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but Jorge Campos. Mexican goalie. Whoa, that was intense. At one point in the year 2000, look at this. Chilavert 52. Higueta, you guys remember this guy? Jorge Campos 47. Nuts. There's Rogerio. Oh, he killed it. Look at that. 2006. Yeah, we don't really like. This doesn't exist anymore. Yep. That's it. Sad. Bring back the goal scoring goalies. Yeah. You can always have excuses. I had a baby. I'm doing a PhD. I got a family. I'm a pastor. You can always find excuses, man, for why you're not streaming. Man up. David Wood is streaming right now. That's why we only have 10 people watching this, because everybody's like, should David Wood be in jail? Arthur, you should get Allison. How am I going to get Allison to take penalties? I would love for Allison to take penalties. He's Brazilian. He put him in the corner every single time. Probably take him better than Salah. Sergio, what's going on? Hello, brother Arthur. I'm interested in reading theology and philosophy. Is there a good book you could recommend that ties in both topics? Thanks in advance. Theology and philosophy. I don't have it near me. I don't think I do. Oh man, what's your education level? If you got like a graduate degree and stuff, and I say this because the author of the book said it, William Lane Craig is working on his series of books, a philosophical systematic theology, or systematic philosophical theology. But they're like really heavy reading. So yeah, systematic philosophical theology. These are the books. So this would be the books. Okay, they're just being released. Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're coming out slowly. And this will combine both the philosophy and theology aspect of things. If not that, I would say you'd have to read multiple books. And I have some book recommendations in the description box. There's a link that says book recommendations. You can go check it out. They're categorized and see whether you can get a couple of those and read them and accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. You're welcome. Thanks for the question. You do a PhD and then you get shame. You can shame me for the high horse. I know, huh? I know. I should just do a PhD for the only reason of shaming Nick. Like, I got a better PhD than you, Nick, with 4 kids. What horrendous reasons to do things. By the way, rediscovered hibiscus and made hibiscus lime tea. Tea, right? Tea. I only went to trade school, but I've been learning and reading literature for the past 2 years. Yeah, I mean, you could give it a try. Volume 1, according to Craig, Volume 1 is easy. You can get through it. But starting with Volume 2, it gets into some heavy academic sort of stuff. But I would recommend... Where is it? I would also recommend Philosophical Foundations for a Christian Worldview. This deals with both philosophy and theology quite a bit. Sort of like a textbook. So get this as well. This will be more palatable probably. Okay. But again, like I said, I have a list of books in the description box that you guys can check out and see if you're interested in it. Prideful PhD. Yeah. Let me get a PhD in pride. We need to set up a YouTube channel for the football stuff so we can move these great convos over there. Gonna need your help. I told you to set it up, man. I told you set up a channel, do your YouTube thing, just talk about the beautiful game. The beautiful game. You know what? What? I'm actually going to send your reaction to my early questions to the guide that I mentioned. You can do that. Did Jesus die because you sinned? Because I sinned? I don't think it's like naturally, sorry, I don't think it's exclusive to a certain extent. Jesus died because Adam sinned. The reason why I sin is because Adam sinned. And so Jesus died for all of that. But predominantly he died to reverse, I'd say, sin with a capital S, which originates with Adam. So he's the second Adam. But also he died so that I am forgiven for my sins. Thank you, brother, for the recommendation. Truly appreciate it. No problem at all. May God bless you and all your family in Jesus' name. Amen. Hey, God bless you too, man. Sergio818. Hey, Sergio, are you local in Glendale? I don't know if we've ever had a conversation or not. I don't recall. What's the name of the Arsenal fan from your church? There's multiple Arsenal fans from my church, Jerome. That's Yervand, right there. That's him, Yerv. Yeah, I'm sure he is happy. Are you works based? Jamie, no, man. Come on, Jamie. Don't say stuff like that. You know me well enough to know that's not true. Like Nick and I. Yeah. Hey, big shout out for the super chat. I don't know what to press here. Boom. Thank you. Holy heat. Yo, peace and blessing. God bless you, brother. Thank you. Thank you for your continuous support always. I mean, always. Man, I'm getting so hungry, by the way. I'm going to try to make it to 2 hours. Thoughts on the NLD and Eze hat trick? No thoughts. Eze is a good player. My son actually really enjoys watching Eze play. No thoughts, man. No thoughts. Look, my thoughts are predominantly about how bad Liverpool are playing. And that's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Hey, if I drop a link, do you guys think people will call in? Let me drop a link. You know what? I'm gonna do some baiting here. I'm gonna change the stream title. I'm gonna change it to Challenge Me Live. Challenge Me Live. On ... Call in. We're baiting here. And then I'm going to drop. But if you guys do like silly stuff, I'm going to kick you out. Pin. I could do something like atheists are stupid, but I'm too nice. Oh, no. Oh, brother, may God have grace on you as you go through that surgery. And may your recovery be quick and smooth, brother. God bless you. I'll shoot you a text. I used to live in Van Nuys for a long time. That's right around the corner to me, man. And the surrounding areas, but I moved to Arizona some years ago. You'd be really close to me. I'd take you to church with me. I'd be like, come to our church, man. Regularly watch your videos, and we have interacted a few times. Okay. But I do listen a lot when I'm driving, so I don't get to comment all the time. Well, appreciate it, Sergio. Appreciate it. The good old bait and switch. It's not a bait and switch. People can call and challenge me. But I'm just saying I could do what other people do, right? I could be like, stupid atheists or Muslims are going to hell. I could do that thing, which is what the internet loves. Is David Wood still running his mouth? He is. There's 2,300 people watching David Wood run his mouth. Let's jump in here before anybody calls in and see what David Wood is running his mouth about.
You're perpetuating this problem by not allowing people to come forward with information without being condemned for the rest of their lives. And so that's why it's pretty important to me. It's an important issue to me.
Yeah, and thankfully, in your case, you have a voice and you have a community, and many people don't have that. Many people don't have the voice that you have. Many people don't have the community that you have, and so who knows any other bad days that she's had where she's just ruined people's lives because of she did like a wrong AI transcription of this or that, and it just the article just got completely framed in a way that was like so coming off as deceptive and so wrong that people just want nothing to do with the guy or the girl or whoever. Well, I don't know, whoever she's exposing. And it's like, it got to the point where people were so outraged by how she represented you and how she spoke about your situation it's like it was like she actually said that she thought that Christians were a bunch of mean people,
Yeah.
and the whole community is just mean, and people.
Okay, David's running his mouth. Yeah. So I think that's generally true. By the way, hey, look at that! Look at that! The bait worked. Um, that Julie Royce's article was just horrendous. I was one of the first people to send it to David and say, "Hey, check this out. They're saying nasty stuff about you." And I read the article and I said, "This is one of the worst pieces of literature I've ever read in my life. This is just absolute junk." Now she didn't write it. Do I know how David coped with Nabil's passing 6 years ago? Probably in a similar fashion to the passing of his son last year. David lost a child last year and then streamed like a week later, which I would have been an absolute mess. And he just had a straight face. I don't want to bring stuff up. I've talked to David privately about how he processed that and what it looked like in his family and all that. And I can tell you the guy just doesn't feel stuff. And yeah, he's spoken a little bit about Nabil's passing, and he said that he did have some tears when he sort of apologized to Nabil's parents at the funeral, and he said that he had a moment where he had a couple of tears fall down. It's happened like twice in his life. Look at that, man. This is a man, ladies and gentlemen. This is a real man. There you go.
How you doing, brother?
Cute baby. She's sleeping?
She's kind of vibing right now.
Yeah.
Should wake up soon. Can't have her sleep too long, otherwise I don't sleep.
Is she sleeping like every 2 hours? That's what's going on?
Yeah, it's about every 2 to 3 hours. The cycle of eat, poop, sleep, eat, poop, sleep.
Yeah.
Just keeps going. So
Come on, hurry up.
but
Come on,
she's
baby. Hurry up. Get older. Get a job. Let's go. We need you.
yeah, get a job. Time to
So,
contribute
so
to the
I,
American war machine. Let's
so
go,
it's
baby.
funny. I would do stuff like that with my kids, and people would like freak out. Like, they're like one and stuff like that. I'd look at them. I was like, "What are you looking at? Come on, move it. Let's go. You need to go get a job."
Oh, 100%. I'm already. I'm like, hey, we don't talk. She's screaming for something. I'm like, hey, we don't talk like that in this house. She's like,
Yeah. Did you
that
just
Irish.
look at me
I feel like the Irish.
sideways?
It's like, yes, of
Kids are
course.
always looking at you sideways. That's the thing.
Oh, they always are looking at you sideways. Although I got in trouble at a parent thing. They're walking, I walk in with her. I'm like, oh, I'm like, hi, everyone. And they're like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty. I'm like, yeah, she was screaming like really loud. Then I pushed the soft button here and she went to sleep. So I'm here now. Let's go. And they just, oh, it's just like, oh, come on, y'all.
Y'all
Like,
can't take a joke.
yeah,
That's
that's
funny.
why God gave his babies to keep us humble.
Oh yeah, amen to that. Amen to that. My daughter started like throwing tantrums, and today like it was funny. She was eating pomegranates, which everybody should eat, but specifically every
And
Armenian
drink.
should eat and drink. Big props. Big props.
Hmm. Hmm.
Man.
I got you.
um,
I got you.
and then she was eating oatmeal, and I was like, "Hey, why don't we mix this?" So I put like some of her pomegranates because we regularly put fruit in her oatmeal and stuff. And so I put like a couple of the pomegranates in the oatmeal, and she went nuts. She started losing her mind over it, right? And then I was like, no, stop. And as I'm like taking the pomegranates out and separating them and all this stuff, and then my wife goes, "You were never around for the other baby, like my son, my firstborn, to see the tantrums he threw." I was like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "Yep, because you were either in school or at work and barely saw, because that's when I was in seventh, barely saw like his crazy tantrums over like how a banana should be cut." And I was like, "Oh, that's true. I'd forgotten about that." So let me
Yes,
bring
my
this
son
heathen.
has the same.
Let me. There's someone who's here who wants to challenge you to a duel. So let me bring him in, okay? Let me bring. Why does it keep doing this? It's so annoying. Full screen. There we are. I think I should be. Guys, I don't know what's going on with this extra thing. black screen. I have no idea. Man, this guy got married, then he cut his hair,
Hey, there we go.
and his grew a mustache. Like, bro, too much change
Well,
at
You know,
once.
we also don't know if that's real or not, so
Too-
no
too
one's
much
giving that a
change.
tug. Who knows?
But hey, looking sharp, bro. Looking sharp.
Yeah, I'm downtown Portland right now.
Oh, be careful, bro. Portland's a
Don't-
dangerous place.
Careful, don't let a rat bite you. You'll die.
Portland's
Yeah.
bad, man. Portland's bad. Like,
I'm more worried about the
if you drive through Portland, you kind of become liberal.
Portland's the anorexic stepsister of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
word.
You need like special things on your car, like crosses and stuff, so the weird liberalism doesn't bite you.
You don't see the outside of his car.
No,
He
no,
spray
no,
painted
no.
rainbows just so they would torch it.
Yeah, they'll come after you. Everybody's got crazy stickers on their car, like "I love abortion" and I blah blah blah. I just this morning I was behind this car and they were like
Oh gosh.
just really nasty stuff. So-
Definitely no Teslas in
silliness.
Portland, I guess.
Oh man, there's so many Teslas here.
No, nobody's scratching them up and damaging them.
Well, it's funny they bought them before they hated Musk because they're all
Oh.
it's like California.
They're like, yay, I like
now they're
trick
trying to
stuff.
sell. Well, the ones you see a lot of the Rivians, I think that's an
Yes.
electric vehicle too.
It is.
Yeah, they're really popular.
That's a cool
Yeah,
vehicle,
I'm
man.
right down. They are. They look cool.
You know what's a really cool electric vehicle? Now I forgot it. Oh man, it's like a cooler Tesla. Oh, what is it called?
Is it the new Hyundai?
Chat, help me. No. It's. Oh, Chad, help me. There's probably some Armenian guys in the chat that like own one. Guys, let me know what I'm thinking about. It's a sports car, bro, and it's fast, and it's very roomy, but it's really expensive. Really expensive. I've been in one, and that thing, the acceleration on that. I mean, Teslas have a pretty nice like acceleration, but this thing blows the Tesla out of the water. Let me see if the chat can help me out with this. Lucid, there you go. I knew it. I knew one of the Armenian guys was going to say it. See, Lucid. Really, really cool. I do have an electric vehicle, by the way, which makes me liberal by default.
I was gonna say, ooh, the testosterone just went down in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a cool one. It's an Acura. It's an Acura ZDX.
Oh, those are cool.
Oh, I never heard.
Yeah, it's a really cool, roomy. It's a very comfortable car. But I heard that they've stopped production on it because of tariffs and all sorts of crazy stuff like that in the politics.
Is that what you voted for?
That is exactly what I voted for.
Amen.
Hey,
Yeah, what
you
you
know,
paying for it?
here's the thing. I'll bite the bullet any day. Like I voted for it, and it's not benefiting me well. But
Oh, no,
it
I'm
is what I
not.
voted
I'm not
for.
complaining at all about it. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's like, no. There's with everything. There's always a give and take in life. So
Yeah. Hey, did you guys? So again, I'll probably talk about this on Monday because I'll have Tom next to me, and then I want to see him cringe when I call out Trump and stuff. But do you guys see or hear this full statement of him calling Somalis like animals or something like that? Do you guys know about this?
I saw the
What do you
standard
think?
talking points, clips, things, but I never saw the whole thing in context. I have
So
no
what
idea
did he
what was
what did he say like in the
I think
context
it's
of what was it?
garbage.
Oh yeah, he said they're like human garbage.
They're like, or he said Somali. I think. What was the context? It was like, yeah, he just said Somalia is garbage or something. I forget, something like that. That's all I saw.
It's a context, if I remember correctly, was commenting on the Minnesota governor's alleged. I'm just saying that so you don't get channel struck.
Allegedly. We're not
Alleged
saying anything. We're just
corruption.
asking questions, So-
Yeah, we're just asking questions. Alleged looking away from the blatant alleged corruption involving a certain community in Minneapolis to the tune of allegedly billions of dollars.
Allegedly.
And so I think that was the context that the president was allegedly speaking
Yeah.
to.
It's all allegedly because there's absolutely no corruption in the United States. There's zero, none.
Especially
Never has been.
in blue cities and blue states. We
That's
all know
right.
they are as pure as Jesus himself. Amen.
That's absolutely true because it does take $1 billion to build one apartment building for homeless people.
Yep. Just look at California. It's $2 billion.
Yeah, and it doesn't really get finished, but there's no corruption.
Oh no, it gets rented out and then gets broken down. So
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Not because so
Okay, so
the BBC has an article here. It says not becoming of a president. Somali Americans respond to Trump's garbage remarks. Community leaders told the BBC that the apprehension is palpable following Trump's remarks, in which he said he did not want Somalis in the U.S. and the country would go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage. That's the quotation.
oh, I know how you respond to that.
So he's essentially calling them. He's calling them garbage, but he could
No.
always sidestep it
No.
and say, well, I'm not calling the people garbage. I'm saying the stuff they're bringing in is garbage. Like, if that's the code.
I think you'd say we're getting some who are garbage.
Yeah.
You would say they're not
there's
all
a way
garbage.
better
Some
way.
of them are garbage.
There's a way better way of speaking about this. Right? Like,
I mean,
like,
it'd be kind of like if I went to I don't know, if I went to Texas, God's country, and I was talking to an American Baptist about Southern Baptist culture. I said it's a garbage culture, da da da. So I'm not, how they, the legacy of slavery and if I were, going to play that game, right?
yeah.
Yes. It's like it's not like you're indicting every single individual or every single thing, but it's like, as we know, stereotypes exist for a reason. There's often a lot of truth to them. You talk to an Irishman, the first thing we do when we greet you is go and say hi. That's just how we do it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
my thing is, there's definitely a talking point to say, hey, we as a society are a rule-following society as Americans, and people need to respect the rule of law. They need to, X, Y, and Z. And if you're going to come to the United States, you can't bring your bad worldview into the United States. You have to assimilate to the way the United States is set up and the way it runs. I've actually, by the way, had this conversation with older Armenian folks, where they've justified like corruption and thievery and all this like fraud and stuff like that. And I've said, and their justification has been, well, we're not stealing from anyone. We're stealing from like the government, like as though the government is not made up of people. But all of these people have come from, most of these people, I should say, have come from a communist background. Communism breeds corruption, by the way. Like there's no conversation there. It forces you to be a thief. It's a disgusting system. But and so that's been their justification. And my response as someone who's grown up in the United States has generally been no. There's a rule of law here. You can't bring that kind of thinking into the United States. Not all, and here's the talking point. This should be the talking point, and everybody's going to get uncomfortable with this. Not all cultures are equal. Not all cultures are correct. There are lousy cultures. I mean, right? There are some cultures
same
are
with
better than
theology.
others. Some cultures are better than others.
Some versions of Christianity aren't Wesleyan.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. But it's interesting that we would have no problem talking about this when it comes to a family unit. Like there are bad families. There are bad parents. There are families that have really, really bad habits. Like it is not a
we can
good
look
thing.
at certain elected officials and presidents beginning with a C and ending with N that were elected in the 90s that exemplify the perfection of family and elected
Correct.
politics.
Yeah. But like even on a simple level, like if we give
Allegedly.
examples like, hey, it's probably not a really good family trait to just cuss around your children as a parent. Like that's not a habit you want to build in your kids. And so it's just, like, don't do it. And then families that speak properly around their children are creating better habits in their children. Or families that, for example, teach their children to read. And they sit together and they have reading time or something like that. Like that's a better thing than families that watch TV for 17 hours a day. Like people would generally be okay with that. But then when we talk about societies, which is a larger family, they lose their minds. Like, oh, here's a society in which corruption is justified, in which thievery is everywhere, in which people steal people's wives and children, and there's kidnapping, all these things happening, and you go, that's bad. Like, we don't want that kind of thinking and that sort of thing to come into our larger family, our society, and then ruin it. Like, they're more than welcome to come, but they can't bring that stuff. And I think there's nothing wrong calling that stuff garbage, is what I would say. It becomes problematic when you're calling people garbage. And I think theologically, I have a problem with that.
Well,
Well, and it's
that's
like the same,
exactly
just
what he
building
was
off that.
saying.
Like if someone comes to my church and they're in sin, I want them here because I want them to learn and grow and be sanctified and made holy. Um, but I don't want you to stay the way you are when you come to church. I want you, like I was, to be transformed.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just as an analogy. We wouldn't accept that in our churches, but we'll accept it with the state. I don't know if I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jamie, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's what Trump is saying. And it's just like the way God talks in the Bible. Like, he'll talk about, Calvinists love to say it sometimes, that God does hate people. People will say, well, God hates the sinner, not the sin. Same sort of thing, I would say.
Yeah. I would really want to see the whole thing in context, because the quotation I had seen, and from respectable people, was from pretty conservative people saying, Mr. President, it is never a right thing to call human beings garbage. And so there was a response there. And then now I'm reading this BBC article, and I don't know whether we should trust the British anyways, but maybe one of them we could trust.
When he's over here and in the proper context, yes, he is worthy of absolute trust.
Okay, but when he's not, then and
allegedly,
yeah. So the BBC saying, didn't Trump sue the BBC?
He did. It's going to get thrown out.
They settled it, I think.
I don't know if I don't think they settled. I don't think it'll go through because there's a few legal technicalities that, if I remember correctly, a friend told me about. It didn't apply to what he's getting at. And,
yeah, but
that's what
I just like that they were all embarrassed. Like, that was very interesting. And then also the Harris interview where was it CBS? Who was that cut out, like, not the sort of mead that Nick is known for. I think I'm just asking questions. I don't know. I'm just asking questions. Whether alcohol is involved, alcohol consumption is involved in the lives of some politicians. Just asking.
Well,
questions.
all I'll say about former Vice President Harris is, based on allegedly all the rumors going about, we knew she was not a Southern Baptist.
That is true. If anybody says, "Oh well," but the politicians, I will draw your attention to Ulysses S. Grant, who died a drunk.
He was a good man.
Yeah, but it seems like the war got to him. And look, I am under no false impression that the amount of pressure that is on leaders of countries, regardless of how big or small the countries are, and the amount of difficult situation that could arise, where it would lead some leaders in those countries towards things like alcoholism. That's happened before. Boris Yeltsin was an absolute alcoholic. Boris Yeltsin couldn't function. For those who don't know who Boris Yeltsin was, Boris Yeltsin's technically the first president of the Russian Federation. Everybody knew Boris Yeltsin was an alcoholic. But like, maybe I would be too if I was the guy that took over a country that in which there was essentially a revolution and the communism fell after 70 years and there's insane poverty and just chaos in that country and the pressure that would be on you to stabilize that country. Like, I'm surprised. I mean, did Churchill...
Is that your Molinism coming through there?
The what-ifism?
Yeah.
I had a
would
joke in
maybe I
there
would be
somewhere,
too.
but
I don't know. Did
Feasible, I could be an alcoholic and president. Yes, feasible.
no, I don't. I don't know. Like Churchill, it's known that Churchill, liked his brandy, mind you, Armenian brandy. Winston Churchill enjoyed quite a bit.
who wouldn't?
I know who wouldn't. Hey man, Thanksgiving night. And I'm gonna save you some, by the way, Nick, for the next time you come over. I had apricot brandy, and it was tasty. Oh look, it's apple juice,
Yep, rotten apple juice, nothing else.
rotting apple juice.
What color is it? That's red. It's dark red.
Yeah, we just call all of it
Exactly.
apple juice. By the way, it's just all
Yeah,
called
it's
apple
it's
juice.
it's dark apple, dark apple.
Brandy was a fine girl. Whoa, Jimmy, chill.
It's a good song.
He said,
I was waiting for the
hey,
joke. I'm like, I'm not going to make it.
I have to go, Arthur, but I wanted
Go
to
for it.
bring up something you were talking about earlier real quick,
Yes, sir.
if you don't mind.
"Fight me."
So I would argue that, or I would ask, or I'm open to thoughts on this. Seems like if Satan is tempting Adam and Eve right from the get-go, it kind of demands that if we believe in a being that's angelic that fell, we have to. I don't see how you get the fall of Satan in this creation week. It seems like Satan, because of the verses you mentioned, it seems like Satan or the angelic fall had to occur before, and then God allows that fallen being into his non-fallen creation. What do you think about that? I don't know how you get the fall of Satan not before Adam and Eve, because of the, no matter how you interpret the story, old earth, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
literal
it
God
happens
or whatever,
beforehand.
still, it seems like it has to. I don't really see how you get there without
Yeah, I would agree
with the
with
way
you.
the New
I
Testament
don't
interprets it.
know whether anybody, like in regards to like Satan being evil and rebellious, some people will categorize like there's an aspect of Satan being rebellious and evil, but he hasn't like fallen, and they'll distinguish between these two things. And I think
No,
I'll
that's
use
no
it as one, and I
problematic.
use the second one as like a loss of authority. I don't know if Nick has any thoughts on this.
Um, I actually tackled this, not this directly, but in during the Revelation sermon
Mhm.
series. And I think it's Revelations. I forget. There's a specific text that's one of those really long, weird sentences that
What's
just
it's the
goes on and
is
on.
it the tail? Is it like the tail of the dragon taking the third of the angels?
Revelation
Yeah,
12.
12 or 13. It's in that literary unit, but it actually uses very similar words from John 8, where it talks about a murderer from the beginning, and from the beginning in Johannine usage is I don't I'm not a philosopher, so correct me, but pre-creational language, if I can say it like that. Um, and so it seems to indicate you don't want to say that, as I understand, you don't want to say God created something bad or
Yes.
sinful because well, that's inherently problematic theologically and just everything. Um, but from the beginning may point back to um, pre-creation, murderer from the beginning, indicating murderous intent, destructiveness, corrosion, corruption, all that sort of stuff. And so I think those things might indicate that it was very early on when things went bad.
Yeah, if he's
Sorry,
a
guys. I don't know
murderer
what I
from the
just did here.
beginning.
Give me a second. I just
Okay.
messed up our sources. Okay. Oh, I think okay. Hang on. Yes.
We're good. We're still here.
I messed it up for just a little bit, but then like I fixed it. So this is great. Okay. Go for
So last comment I'll make is when you put all the verses together, like how the New Testament writers interpret the story, and the one you quoted earlier, Arthur, and the one he mentioned here, seems like, and then, I mean, seems like you have an original rebel there. I don't know how you get around it. And then I know people don't like to bring up Ezekiel 28 or Isaiah 14, but I think there's a reason Christians have largely interpreted it the way they do, even though Lucifer isn't his name and all that junk. But if he's if he's a murderous, if he has murderous intent from the beginning, and he is a snake, and I understand like the root word there in the Hebrew means serpentine and all that, and I know what Heiser said about it. I would just say it seems like it's still saying he was against, or Satan means opposer to God, and so then he's being said to be a particular one, not just some general use of the term Satan, because
Correct.
Even the angel of the Lord is referred to as a Satan in Numbers 22 because he's opposing
Israel.
Balaam.
Oh,
yeah, Israel's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's a passage in the Old Testament where Yahweh is actually referred to as an opposer of Israel, and it's the Shaitan. That's the word that's used. But what I would say is, yeah, you're right. I would agree with everything that you're saying. It does seem that this stuff's happening beforehand. Nick's right. I think it becomes theologically suspect and questionable for God to create this being just like evil or something like that. And there's a rebellion that's happening either pre-creation. This rebellion, like God creates the angels and all that stuff, and there's this rebellion that happens, and then the human beings come about, and it's already set up that there's an opposition. Some people have tried to bring it into a conversation where God brings about the human beings, and that's where the rebellion happens. But I think then we're moving into like a lot of gray area, like they're jealous of it, or there's a thing of power, or want to be worshipped, or something like that. But I don't necessarily look. I don't interpret Isaiah 14 the way that is typically interpreted, but I think with what you're saying, I think that's probably a pretty decent middle ground. Like, yeah, Lucifer's not his name and all this stuff, but it's at least using the original rebellion of this Satan and putting it in line of like human rebellion. Like, so the human beings are being satanic, if you want to think about it that way. That's a pretty decent interpretation of Isaiah 14. I think that would work. So the kings of Babylon are acting satanic. They're acting in rebellion to God the way Satan is. But he's the model of like this disgusting rebellion that is happening, right? And we use language like this as well.
Well, the Bible does that, right? It does that with Israel and how it likens Jesus to Israel. And I would say this is the unseen realm sort of thing where this bigger picture behind the scenes is like manifesting in our world. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah.
But so I kind of see, or my tradition would call it sort of the controversy between Christ and Satan that's kind of weaved through the whole narrative of Scripture. And then the way Revelation talks about, the final figure that Jesus destroys before he restores creation. And it uses language in the same way, the king of Babylon, the rebellion of Babylon, the mystery Babylon, and her fornication against the ways of God, etc., and just examples, and just how Revelation is constantly using the imagery of the rebellion of Israel in the past, and then you see these little peaks of this larger spiritual rebellion that fits that narrative really well, going right back to the beginning. But I'll leave it there with my thoughts. But thanks for having me, guys. Good to see you guys.
No doubt, man. Thanks. I don't know if Nick wants to comment on Revelation. It's probably more fresh in your mind.
No, I spent a year on Revelation. I need a break.
Those are recorded, right? Are those recorded on your channel?
They're recorded on the church's YouTube channel. So just for First Baptist Church of Palos Verdes, they'll be there.
Yeah. So First Baptist Church of Palos Verdes, you can go check out all of Nick's teaching through the book of Revelation. You might learn something other than, is the rapture happening tomorrow? You might actually learn how to read the Bible properly.
The answer might surprise you.
Narek's got a question, and it says, it's the passage out of Isaiah 45:7. It says, I form light and create darkness. I make well-being and create calamity. I am the Lord who does all these things. He says, I'm interested in dissecting the verse. Seems relevant to the topic. I think the verse is generally about God's supremacy and his sovereignty over human affairs. So, I mean, you can think of form light and create darkness, like as a reference even to Genesis 1 in the creation account and all that. And then the second part of that is I make well-being and create calamity. Both goodness and judgment come from God. And it just shows his supremacy is what I would say over all situations.
Yeah, and I think just the only thing I would add would be in that specific discourse, Isaiah chapters 40 through 48, with the language about the gods and idols and stuff like that. The entire joke is, this thingy can't make things. So I don't know why you worship it when you have the God of the universe who made everything possible for you to make this thing. And so Heiser's right on that. Golden Gate's right on that. It's one of those things, once you kind of go back and go, yeah, the Bible is fundamentally a supernatural book. Suddenly the Bible becomes a lot easier to read. So
Yeah.
that's that's kind of, in the nutshell, what I would say. We're not even talking about moral categories. We're talking about God's ability to create with idols and gods that are created things that cannot themselves create.
Yes. Checked it out.
Ooh, fun.
So I preached a sermon a long time ago, a number of years ago, in which this, you might want to use this. It's actually pretty cool. And I'm not the only one that's kept this. There's a lot of people from our congregation that still have these. So I cut these 2x4s into little blocks. The nails I've added later. I'll tell you why. But I cut these 2x4s into little blocks like this, and we just handed them to everyone that came to church that day. And then I preached a sermon on idolatry from Isaiah, and essentially I said, hey, this is representing the idols that you have in your life. So think about what those things are. And so people have just kept them, man. Like people have them in their car. Some people have drawn on them. In just a good reminder that it's easy to fall into idolatry, all of us. But I ended up listening to a sermon a while ago in which they were actually handing out nails. And I think it was an Easter thing that was done, and we gave out nails. And so I took the nails and I put them through the idol. And I was like, I think that's a pretty decent picture of
Pretty metal.
the way the Christian life should be. So I just have this around.
Doesn't work? Nail it.
Oh yeah. Crucify the lusts.
Not yourself. That's
the
metaphor.
flesh.
Don't crucify yourself with Christ. That's already been taken care of.
That's right. Why am I forgetting the title of that book? The Mortification of Sin.
John Owen?
Yes, I think it's John Owen.
I had to read portions of that at Fuller. I don't remember much from that. I
think
don't remember the book. Either it was awful or it was
Yeah,
amazing and I was too tired.
Yeah, it's John Owen. It's in my library. It's like you got to get a modern English copy of this, or else you're gonna like really struggle through it. It's just weird reading.
And John Owen is already hard to read. Like,
Yes.
He's not actually fun.
Some people are difficult to read, but Nick is not like that. He's fun to read.
Yeah.
He's like
You thank the editors for that.
Depends. My wife read it on her channel. The Mortification of Sin.
Nice.
That's cool. That's absolutely cool. Is she awake?
She's dozing. So if I like set her down and said wake up, she'd But she's kind of just enjoying the moment. Here, let's see. You want to look? Oh, the hands.
Oh, there's
The hands.
Simba.
Mm-hmm. Sylvan, yeah.
Bro, it's so crazy. It's so crazy how they go just from being like so tiny to like so quickly.
They go from being helpless to just not being helpless.
Dude, my youngest is like she bosses people around.
She's an Asadurian. That's literally
Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think it's because of that. I think it's because she's like the youngest and spoiled, and everybody carries her places, and she just thinks you can tell people what to do. Like I've actually started correcting her when and she'll say it with like an attitude. like demanded. Like she won't say please. I mean, she started saying a lot of words, so she understands exactly what's going on.
Yep.
And so it's a lot easier to have a normal conversation with her. But like she'll tell her brother, like call his name, like yell his name, and then like demand something. And I'm like, no, you say please. And she will refuse to say it. And I'm like, you sinner, you human, you. You know?
Yeah. No, Nolan's actually gotten pretty. When he's mad, he gets, no, I won't do it. And I'm just like, do you want your food? Do you want to eat dinner tonight? Yeah. Then he'll kind of, what you can see him weighing the options, like, how much of this do I
It's like, how
actually,
hungry am I?
how
Hang
much?
on. How much do I
Yeah,
want this?
yeah.
How much?
We're having mac and cheese tonight. Dad's making it, you know. You want to help Dad make mac? Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. I'll be good. It's like,
Yeah.
that's right.
So,
Food motivation. It
sometimes
actually works on
he's gonna grow up and he's gonna start like disliking food, and then the follow up question is gonna be, "What are we eating?"
Yeah.
It's like,
You're
no, I don't
cooking
want to eat
and
that.
cleaning
I'll
tonight,
starve.
son. Yeah, really.
Mm.
Although one of the perks about making homemade apple juice is you can just give him a tablespoon of this, and it's actually good for him. And it
Is
actually
that raw?
has
Is that raw honey?
raw and unfiltered. I couldn't get
Yeah,
organic, but
that stuff's awesome.
yeah, that stuff's good.
Very, very good. Okay, dude, 2.5 hours in.
Based. All right, I gotta hop off. I gotta go
Okay,
put her down, and we're gonna go out to coffee. And I got some reading I gotta get caught up
nice,
on.
man. Enjoy it. I got a bunch of new books, by the
Will
way.
do.
They've arrived. I don't know if you. Let me run these by you. See if you've read any of them. Read any of them
All right.
before you head out. And I have a couple of more coming
Okay.
too. Beholding the Triune God. You read this?
Who's the author?
Matthew Emerson, Brandon Smith.
I know Brandon. He was Mike's one of Mike's students. No, I haven't read that one. I read two of Brandon's other books. He's like
Okay.
the new guy on the block,
Yeah.
Bible and Trinity.
Impossible to be restored. Temptation and warning in the Epistle of the Hebrews.
Ooh, I read a chapter of that.
Okay. Yeah. This one's actually interesting. I think you might have read this one. Egypt, my people, and Israel, my inheritance. The non-Israelite nations in the latter prophets.
That one I've not read.
Okay, so I've heard a lot of this. This is interesting study. Like,
Okay.
for those who get it, you'll get it. God the Son incarnate, the doctrine of Christ.
Yep. Wellum. Yep.
Yeah. Theological retrieval for evangelicals.
Yep.
Why we need our past and our future. That's Gavin Ortland's book. Gavin's books all have like a very similar cover, by the way. It gets confusing.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Natural theology, 5 views.
Ooh, that's not. No, I've not had that.
Yeah,
That's
this is
not in
more on
my
the
current
philosophical
wheelhouse for
end of
doctoral
things.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, not even that. That sounds like something I'd actually love. I love the five views books just to get kind
Yeah.
of a taste of everything.
Yeah.
The one on Paul is probably the best one they've done. Yep, that's on my shelf right now.
Yeah.
I have to read my
I knew
seminary prop.
it
Yep.
was gonna be. That's why I listed it slowly.
It's like,
One of the ones I actually got that hasn't arrived yet was your recommendation, I think. Getting to know the Church Fathers, an evangelical introduction. Brian Litfin.
fun.
So
Okay.
I thought this would be kind of a cool kind of intro. But
What did I recommend
the
to you?
book
Yeah.
was something Paul. Rediscovering Paul. No, read something Paul. I'll tell you right now.
There's been like 6 or 7 books over the past like 10 years that have like Re and Paul in it.
Okay.
Um,
So the ones I haven't gotten what is this one?
she's getting a little hibiscus stain on her forehead. Uh-oh.
Oh, Framing Paul.
What?
I'm pretty sure you're the
Douglas
one who
Campbell.
recommended
Okay.
that book to me.
Yep.
Framing Paul.
Yeah, that's a hard that book took me about 2-3 times to get through.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting book.
That had been sitting in my in my wish list for a while, and I got another one called
I'd be really
Neuroscience and
curious.
Soul.
to get your opinion, like get you and like your boys, because you got like 5 or 6 of your elders. I'd love to for you guys, and obviously this is like, book club for a year kind of thing, but reading Douglas Campbell's his big, you know, The Deliverance of God, like 1,200 pages.
Hmm.
It's one of those books where if you read it, if you're a Paul biblical studies and philosopher theologian, like he does all of it, some of it better than others in my opinion. But it's one of those books you read it and you're like, this will either change a person's theological trajectory for the better or for the worse. Like even N.T. Wright, Michael Gorman, like all the major Pauline guys are reading it, going like, yeah, he's wrong, but this is literally a game changer. And
Yeah.
so that book's been out for about a decade, but it's one of those where I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to spend a year reading it. But it's one of those where I'm like, I wish I could just have people read it and download it, and then tell them what they think because it's such
Yeah.
an interesting book.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, and then I got another one called these haven't arrived, but Retrieving Eternal Generation. It's sort of like I've gotten a number of books specific for thinking about the eternal generation. Another one called The Triune God, and then 2 views on the doctrine of the Trinity.
Was that with McCall and Holmes and all them?
Authors on these. The 2 views one, I don't know who the author. I don't know who the authors are on.
Okay.
It just doesn't come up
Okay.
in my picture that I took. But like I put in these
Okay.
because it was ETS got that ETS discount. I also fundraised for it, so I didn't. I think out of pocket I bought one of them. I actually out of pocket bought Christian Apologetics by Doug Grutheis, the 2nd edition. Paid for that one out of pocket. But the rest was fundraised. So big shout out to David Wood's followers.
Nice. Yeah, I'll need to hang out with you guys in Denver next year to see if I can pick up a stray of that.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna submit a paper.
Do it. I'm submitting a paper to the regional and to the annual.
Same paper?
Yeah, if they don't accept the one, I'll resubmit to the next one. But probably not. I've got some research I want to get tested at ETS. So
Okay. Yeah, I talked to Ryan Mullins, and because he's done thinking around the idea that I have that paper in, and I was like, would you mind if I send it to you? You went through it and gave me feedback, and then I can work on it a little bit more and then submit the paper. Because next year the theme is defending the faith. And I just think there's going to be so much apologetic sort of stuff in there, which would make sense because essentially my paper is an argument against the problem. It's an argument against a version of the problem of evil, basically.
ooh, that'll be fun. Well, we'll see if they take any of mine. Just Pauline studies. They got stuff in it, but it's a very niche field, and all the heavy hitters need to earn their research. Yeah, pay for their ticket, if you know what I mean. So we'll see. I was one away from getting in for San Diego. If one person dropped out, I would have been the next one up. So that was nice. But I got to present it at the regional, which was fun, and that's actually a lot more helpful, just because
Cozy.
the people that want to be there are there. Yeah, it's just quieter. The next one is actually for our region is at Masters, so literally a sneeze from where you are. So it'll be a Masters seminary in I think it's April.
Jamie said, if you don't articulate the Trinity correctly, God might be mad. Why does the Trinity matter? Jamie, that's not what we're saying. It's sort of like saying, like if I ask you about your wife, Jamie, and then you give me all these false description about your wife. Yeah, I think your wife would have a right to be mad at you to a certain extent. Another thing I would say is then you're no longer defining your wife. You're no longer describing your wife. Why does it matter? Because you're no longer describing your wife. So I'd say the same exact thing about God. Like if we get it wrong, then are we no longer describing who God is? I mean, that's an important sort of thing. So I wouldn't.
And I think intentionality matters too to that.
Yes.
Because there are some people I think are much more deceptive in how they engage versus people that don't know the difference between modalism and, this or that and are trying to be faithful, but just are out of their depth. And I think God's got a lot more grace for those folks than people that know better, if you know what I mean.
Jerome says, "Man, that baby is cute."
Jerome, you should get yourself one. I bought it and
Yeah.
assembled it myself. Although it took about 9 months.
First, you got to get married, and then
Yes,
and then
get
you
married
can
to a woman.
Yeah, nowadays we need to specify such things, because in times past, when you told someone you need to get married, it was assumed you're getting married to someone from the opposite sex.
You realize how
Nowadays
old
we
you
have
just
to
sounded?
specify.
Back in my days, the woman was a woman, and when you walked up, you said you want to get married. She said yes. Gotta
Nowadays,
put your teeth in,
I feel
Grandpa.
like in a couple of years we got to be like, not only do you have to get married to a woman, but you have to married to a human woman as opposed to a non-human woman. If you get
Well,
my
given what they're seeing in the skies these days, it probably is good to get an actual DNA test before you get married these days. I'm just saying.
yes.
So hold on, hold
So
on.
I was
Pee in this cup. I want
what
to get you tested.
some of the guys local to Glendale had a podcast, and they had this guy on who claims to be straight, by the way. He says, I'm not gay. But he is with a transgender female, all parts included, that looks pretty female-y because of all the surgeries and stuff. But folks are like, hey man, you're gay. You're with a dude. Like, this transgender woman has all the parts. And he's like, no. Like, he says, look at her. She looks like a woman. And they're like, but like, come on, like parts matter, But it's interesting. So they had them on because they've like gone sort of viral and stuff like that. And that conversation was so interesting. And it was interesting seeing a bunch of Armenian guys also react to it.
You can see Armenian dudes just sitting there going like, "Don't look at her? She looks like a woman." Yeah, 95% of her does.
One of them actually was like,
Yeah,
no,
I'm like
no,
Armenian dudes
she's
and
not
Irish
a
dudes,
she.
basically.
She's a he. It was like generally pretty respectful, but conversation. But it was very interesting. But
Yeah.
but the reason why I say that is because the transgender woman said, they asked if like you went on a date, whether on the first date you would tell a guy that you're transgender. And this person said, oh no, I wouldn't, unless it started getting intimate, then I would tell them. And I'm like, man, imagine being that
You'd
guy.
let me get to first base
Yeah,
before pulling that. By the way,
By the way,
not
I'm
to
a
say I go to
dude.
first base on dates, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't go to first base on
No,
the first date.
well, nowadays, you're no longer on your first date.
This is true.
Yeah.
But like in my head, it's like like if I were single, my wife gets raptured, hypothetically, and I go on a date. Literally,
In
the
a
first thing I'm
possible
saying is,
world where you're
I
not
got
married, Molinism.
this is right, an unfeasible world. Yes, I got 2 kids. Here's what I make a year as a pastor. I'm not. If you want to be here, I want you to want to be here to know why you're here. Like I've been with one woman my entire life. That's my
Yeah.
wife. Da da da. Here, I'm happy to give you the whole rap sheet of everything. Just could not care less. So that to
Yeah.
me, if they told me 3 dates later, I'd be like, yeah, thank you, bye, click, done. No, you like that to me is lying in my brain.
Yeah, and it's insane because like now this person is someone who's got all the parts like I said, but there's individuals who've had surgeries done, and they can trick guys more, which is, man, there's inherently some nasty stuff there. Like if you're a guy who's just not interested, that's the thing. If you're like that guy, if you're like interested in this, it's like whatever. But if you're a dude who's just really not interested, and you find out, like I can see people just losing it and getting extremely violent.
Oh yeah, no one likes to feel like they've been lied to, especially when it comes to intimacy,
Yeah,
and that
it's
goes
nuts.
across the spectrum.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean that heterosexual relationships.
Oh yeah, I'd be very upset if my wife said
Like
I was her first and I was her 500th. Like
yeah, or like
it's not
or
that
like
you're
you
500.
or you like start dating someone and then you find out like 5 weeks into a dating relationship that she's also dating another guy. She's just trying to like weigh you guys against each other to see which one she wants to be with. Like you would feel
Well,
absolutely
I'll make it
betrayed.
easier for you, sweetheart. You can have him.
Yeah. Bye. And it's a good way of just staying single. Because both those guys be like, see ya.
Yeah, at that point, it's like,
Nick Jerome thought it was funny when you said I assembled it myself.
well, at least I helped.
The Lord knit her.
You know, by the way, Arthur, my favorite compliment I got was when uh, Jerome said it. We're just talking at the Praise with Reason conference. Shout out for the next one.
By
And
the way,
we're
all
talking. He's
three
like,
of the talks have been
yeah,
uploaded to YouTube.
I saw. So y'all need to go sub if you haven't subbed. I don't know why you'd
Mm.
be here and not subbed. But the nicest thing I've ever got was Jerome's like, you are a lot funnier than I thought you were, and you were already pretty funny. And I was like, I'm paraphrasing, but Jerome said something like that, and that made me I about blushed. So
The best comment from our event that I heard about you was, wow, what a guy, what a heart of service. Stuck around and helped us clean up like crazy.
I know what it's like to have to be the I know what it's like to be the one dude who has to break down everything and by himself with no love, no respect. I get it. So I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah, we
You'll see me help waiters. Like,
really
it's like, no, I
appreciate
got
that,
you. I
man.
don't.
there
No, by
should
all means.
there should be no fool me once. Yeah, not in that situation. There should be no fool me once.
Yeah, that's a bye, Felicia. Oh, all right, I gotta go.
Okay, brother.
Bye, Jerome. Bye, y'all. Take care. God bless you.
Bye, baby.
You want to say bye?
Ah, man. Gosh, that's cute.
Peace.
See ya. Wow, that was just like absolutely cute. He should stop rocking. Well, why? Kids like being rocked, man. You realize when children are in the womb, they're always being rocked because the mom's like walking and they're like chilling. And so when they're born, they like being rocked. That's why you rock a baby. Christians should care about overpopulation. We should. The only problem with it is the earth is not overpopulated. That's a complete junk nonsense argument from the 1970s. Just absolutely stupid, man. Who mentions overpopulation nowadays? It's so debunked. Absolutely debunked, man. We need more children. Sean, you're the reason why, like, no, sorry, I shouldn't say it like that, Sean. Forgive me. Not like that. That kind of thinking is the reason why Europe is going to be a Muslim continent. Because overpopulation. Let us know how that's working out in Europe. Me, on the other hand, as an Armenian whose culture has survived genocide, I say everyone should have at least 4 kids. Every Armenian should have at least 4 kids. Just keep having kids. We need to like just keep breeding. By the way, I heard something the other day. It was a Jewish person talking, and they were saying that just now the Jewish population is getting close to, not even hit, but getting close to pre-Holocaust numbers. Think about that. Coming up on 100 years to recover from something like that. So I'm just like, have kids. Overpopulation, I don't know. Go tell other people to stop having kids when they got like 8. Me, don't come to me when I got 2 and tell me it's overpopulation. I'm having kids. I'm naming them Armenian names. If the colonizers don't like it, if white liberal colonizers don't like the fact that as a genocide surviving culture that we want to persevere and we want to survive and we want to pass on our heritage, that seems like a personal problem to me. I'm going to have kids, and I'm going to encourage my kids to have kids. I'm going to encourage my kids to each have 4 kids at the very least, so there could be 16 grandkids at the very least. If there's like 20, I'd be like super happy. Then me and my wife can sit there and say, look at us, we produced lots of people. But what you don't know here, Jerome, is that all the very good scholars are extremely good comedians, but not all good comedians are good scholars. More babies equals better world. Come on, Jerome. Preach it, brother. Preach it. Want to have more, but my 2 feel like 8. That's fine. That's fine. Encourage them to have more when they're of age. So what I'm learning today is that there's a 5th kid incoming. 5th kid is incoming. Not that I'm aware of. I've shared this. I mean, my wife's pregnancy with the 4th. I would absolutely love to have another kid. But with the 4th one, the pregnancy was pretty heavy. And so, it's getting into dangerous territory. But 4's pretty decent. I asked AI about the ideal human population, and it says 2 billion to 500 million people. You asked AI that question. It was AI programmed by, liberal people. You asked AI that. Let me ask AI that. Let me ask, what did you ask? Let me see. ChatGPT. Chat. What's up, chat? Chat. Let's go. ChatGPT here. And let's move this here. Okay. What is the most ideal number of people on the Earth? I don't know what you mean by ideal, by the way. That should be interesting as to how ideal is defined. 2 to 4 billion is correct. That's the answer that is given me. Okay, so here's the reason. Here's the reason given. At that level, humanity could live at a European lifestyle standard without exceeding planetary ecological capacity. But this assumes, see, you're not saying this stuff, like the stuff it's assuming. This assumes current technology, current consumption patterns, no major breakthroughs, which is unrealistic long-term because technology keeps advancing. Number 2, from a technological innovation perspective, economists, now look at this. This is the stuff you're not mentioning, bro. Economists and technologists argue that more people equals more innovation. These models often estimate that human flourishing and progress increases with population up to 10 to 15 billion people. Reason: more minds equals more creativity, higher chance of breakthroughs, medicine, energy, AI, food supply, stronger global workforce, and knowledge growth. This view sees humanity as problem solvers, not problem causers. Okay. Number 3, from resource to tech growth perspective, realistic scenario. Many demographers argue that with current and emerging tech, desalination, vertical farming, renewable energy, the Earth can comfortably support 8 to 12 billion people. This assumes more efficient food production, renewable energy expansion, improved water management, reduced extreme poverty. We are at 8.1 billion now and still accelerating in technology and not collapsing, just for a note. Theological and Christian perspective, because my AI knows I need this stuff. Since your channel deals with worldview issues, Christian worldview does not propose an ideal number. Instead, humanity is commanded to fill the earth, Genesis 1. I'm not going to get into that. People are inherently valuable as image bearer stewardship. So it's very interesting to me. Very interesting to me. Okay. Very, very interesting to me that you just leave all that stuff out and you go 2 billion people. You didn't even say it said 2 to 4 billion. You said 2 billion to 500 million. Right. Like, you realize that if we go lower in number, like, we won't have all the advancements. Like, sure, if you want to go back to the Middle Ages, we can drop in population, Sean. And how do we even get there, according to your worldview, Sean? Do we just kill 6 billion people? You want to Thanos everyone? You want to snap everyone out of existence? Look up climate change tipping points. The climate stuff was included in here, by the way, in regards to renewable energy and all that stuff. Hey, what's up, Tony? How you doing? Much love from Idaho. Hope you're well, man. I asked Skynet. It told me to find John Connor. Just saying, you're not being fully transparent here, Sean. You're really into that climate stuff. That's the problem. I think Jerome's right. You need to change your presuppositions. Educate girls for population control. This guy. I love how you're like sneakily a eugenicist. Nothing wrong with educating girls, by the way, but I wouldn't say educate girls for climate control. That seems like you're treating women as objects. You're objectifying women. So the way the AI put it is very interesting. It says, if you assume current technology, meaning the technology doesn't advance beyond the point we have, it says 3 to 5 billion sustainable. If you assume ongoing innovation, which is exactly what's happening, 10 to 15 billion is sustainable. If you assume a Christian worldview, moral stewardship matters more than numerical limits. You're welcome. Yeah. That would have to be some super Thanos, because if you showed up, we'd still be at 4 billion. I know. Just think about it. You're worse than Thanos. And this guy's telling us that we need to educate girls for population control. Yeah, women, you know what you're good for? Little girls, you know what you're good for? Population control. That's the reason we're going to educate you guys, is that so you don't have more children. Brother, do you listen to yourself? You said something like that to my daughter? Sheesh, bro. This guy. You know what I'm going to do, Sean? Just for you and just for atheists just like you, I'm going to educate both my daughters. And I'm going to educate them well and great. And I'm going to encourage them, and I'm going to back them up to have like 6 kids each. And I'm going to keep pushing it. I'm going to do that with everyone I come across. All the young ladies who want to follow Jesus, I will encourage them to go get educated, to love education, to love their husbands, and to love families, and to have more and more children, so that we would breed the atheists out of existence. Because they're not having any kids anyways, because they want to use young women as population control gimmicks. Oh, women, you know why it's good for you to be educated? So you don't have kids. Not because it's good to be educated. No, just so you don't have kids. I don't buy the idea that educated women don't have kids. You know what I buy? Faulty educated women don't have kids. Feministically educated women don't have kids. That's the problem. Actually well-rounded educated women love kids, love husbands, love their families and children. That's the problem. You got these assumptions putting in there. Looking at Western feminized nonsense of women, anti-men, miserable, and Iran is running out of water because of climate change and overpopulation. Iran is not running out of water because of climate change and overpopulation. Iran is running out of water because the government is controlling the water sources, and also there's conflicts in their borders with Afghanistan in regards to who controls the water sources. That's why Iran is running out of water, my friend. Stop reading nonsense. There's lots of politics going on. The Afghanis and the Iranians have huge issues with who controls the water source. Talk about a place in the world that I'm not aware of. That one's pretty close. Pretty aware of it. Got family there. Tehran is overpopulated, but that's not because of overpopulation. Do you know how many people the country of Iran can, both my parents were born in Iran. My wife was born in Iran. My in-laws were born in Iran. Like, what are you talking about? People have flooded to the city. Iran is not overpopulated. Actually, people have flooded into the major city, Tehran predominantly, because of the Islamic regime. People in Iran actually aren't getting married and aren't having kids. There's an insane demographic issue in Iran. The younger population is not getting married and is not having children. Like, I'm talking about people like up to 40. Iran's going to have a major issue on their hands. And the reason why they're doing that is because the Islamic regime has run that country into the ground, and people are living in abject poverty. And so people aren't getting married and having kids. That's what's happening in Iran. Not overpopulation. What are you talking about, bro? What are you smoking? I actually know what's going on in Iran. So I won't fall for nonsense headlines like this. I never thought that education would become an instigation for Arthur. No, I'm going to educate them, man. I'm going to educate them. They're all going to go get PhDs. What's up, Brooklyn? I would say educated women do not want to have many kids, and many want no kids at all. I'm sure you would say that. Yeah, American educated women, the people who are educated a certain kind of education. You guys need to realize that. It's a specific kind of education. That's true. Like that's okay. It's okay, man. It's okay. We'll educate them properly, and then we'll encourage them to get married and have kids. And it will encourage them not to get married to your sons. It's not complicated. Unless your sons are good, solid Christian people. Then they're more than welcome to. Can you give me a quick explanation about Molinism? So Molinism is a view, a philosophical and theological view, where it is trying to reconcile God's sovereignty and human freedom, basically where both of them can coexist, where God is sovereign and in control, and human beings have genuine free will. Now, quite a bit of it goes into areas of like the way God knows the future, God's mode of knowledge. So God knows all possible things, God knows all actual things, and God knows all contingent things, which is called middle knowledge. That would be really quick overview of what we're talking about when it comes to Molinism. I'm going to educate my kids to prove you wrong. No, I'm going to educate my kids so they are well-rounded, proper individuals. Yeah, like Sean's not going to get married and have kids. So I'm not worried at all. Like if Sean and Sean, all friendly kind of discussion. If you and your kind continue doing the way things that you guys are doing things, you're going to stop existing. Like I said, that kind of thinking is what has led to Europe to be in the situation they're in. Germany will no longer be Germany. Give it about 50 years. England will no longer be England. France will no longer be France. It's going to be very, very, very difficult for those places to course correct. When population gets to a certain degree, you cannot bring it back. It is doomed. And then you can look around and see who your neighbors are and who's going to fill it up. You might witness it. You might be alive for it. And you might weep at what you see. and curse this kind of ideology. It sounds close to Arminianism. So it's not a soteriological system. Molinism, there are Calvinists who are Molinists. There are Wesleyans or Arminians who are Molinists as well. So it's trying to answer a question of God's sovereignty and human freedom as opposed to a soteriological system. So you can't say it's Arminianism or sounds like Arminianism. I know why it would sound like that way, but yeah. Question, hey Dolphin, how you doing? Question for Arthur, how was your day? Also, first time seeing you wear blue. It brings out your olive complexion. Wow, thank you. Appreciate that. It gets dark here. Like I'm probably going to walk outside right now. It's absolutely dark. It's 4:20. So the reason why I say that is because I'm not seeing a lot of sun, but I did stand in the sun a little bit. Yeah, I've worn this before. So I appreciate that. How's my day? It was good. I had a pretty decent work meeting. Did some good work in the morning, early in the morning. So it's, woke up, got into the office around 7:45, 8, did some work, had a meeting at 10, picked up my kids, brought them home, came here, hanging out with you guys since, and I'm going to go eat, and then I'll end up at my friend's house tonight because I'm invited to a gathering. So it's going to be a good day. Maybe I will stream later tonight with my friends because I got a new mic set and it might just work. It'd be a fun stream from the phone. I might do that. But also prove Sean wrong. Well, yeah, I mean, why not? Do kids really need to be educated to have children? Really? Do they No, they need to be educated. Brooklyn, I don't know when you jumped into this conversation, but Sean said we need to educate women so they don't have kids. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he said, let me go back and read it. Here's what Sean said. I'm just responding to Sean's comment. Educate girls for population control, not because girls should be educated. That's what he said. Sean. Do kids really need to be educated to have children? Yes, they need to be educated how to properly run a family. As all human beings need to be educated. They need to be trained up properly. I mean, do you guys not, Brooklyn, not to be offensive, but I'm assuming you have kids. You've taught and educated your kids, hopefully. Like I teach and educate my kids. I talk to my sons about what it means to be a man and what it means to be a father. I talk to my daughters, well, specifically to one right now, the other one's two, about how a young lady should behave and how she should conduct herself and what does it mean to be responsible and how to have good habits like reading and study and properly greeting individuals and respecting your elders. And there will come a time where we will have conversations about what it means to be a mother and how to run a family. And she has her mom as a great example of what that looks like. My 9-year-old daughter can take care of a baby and care for a baby way better than most 18, 20-year-olds. Because she's around it, because she has responsibility, because we give her tasks, we trust her. Yeah, that's education. So there's a proper way of doing things. There's an improper way of doing things. Sean's comment here, educate girls for population control, is an improper way of doing things. It's sexist. It demeans women, demeans girls, demeans education. Like if Sean was in control, I'd be really scared whether he would conceive of an idea to get rid of 6 billion people on the planet. Because, climate change. I'm more worried about climate change than the human population. See, that's what I mean. Like, this is genocidal talk. Sean, you're drunk. You're whacked out of your mind. You have a problem with humans over the planet. This is the way genocides have happened. I hope more education will. This is the reason why Sean doesn't want to get married. It's okay. You don't have to get married, Sean. Like, for all the kids that you won't have, me and my friends will have enough. So, like, even if you were going to get married and have one, don't worry about it. I got 4. It's all good. And if I could, I'd have more. I got a friend. He's got 11. It's great. He's covered you and some of your friends. Arthur never said that having kids requires education. He's arguing against the idea that educated people do not or should not have kids. And by have kids, I mean just producing them. Do you speak to your children as most do with sort of a child voice and vernacular? No, I do not, and actually can't stand that. Or is it the same way you speak to us adults? So, Dolphin, very good question. When we had our first kid, and people came, and in the Armenian language, there's a way you end words to make it like kiddie, like childish talk, and the way you end the word is with like ik. So, for example, water in Armenian is jur, but people will say jurik, right? It's sort of like, instead of saying water, you say wawa. And we told people, don't talk to our kids like that. We speak to our kids the way the words are supposed to be pronounced, and expect them to talk like that. So even if my kids mispronounce a word, for example, like my daughter right now, who's 2, she's having a hard time saying her siblings' names because they're a little difficult. And so every time she pronounces it and she says it wrong, I correct her and I say it the right way. And we do that with everything. So if she says wawa, I'm going to say no, water. And so that's the way we speak to our children. We don't allow even family members and even people who just meet them, if they talk to them in that way, we tell them, can you please stop? That's not the way we communicate with our kids. There was actually a time when my son was, my oldest was a bit older, where people went to him and started talking like that, and he kind of looked at them because he had no idea what they were talking about. Because we have spoken to our children like adults. We want them to have a rich vocabulary. I don't have a rich vocabulary, by the way. And they read a lot, and we encourage them to read and study and be solid thinkers and be logical, all that stuff. So yeah, your youngest is so cute, man. Thank you. Yes, she is. And I recommend people just don't do that. It's actually really bad for developing proper speaking skills. This is why you'll have 5-year-olds who don't know how to pronounce words. Shouldn't girls learn how to think for themselves regarding if they want to have children or get married? Yeah, sure, no problem. I agree with you. So you're actually disagreeing with Sean, who said let's educate women so that we can control them. Sean loves trees and dirt and thinks they are more valuable and important than human beings. I want to state that so you guys know who you're talking to. So you guys know why Sean would completely devalue human beings, devalue girls specifically, and view their education as the sort of thing to bring about population control. I, on the other hand, I'm a biblical thinker, and I think, generally speaking, God has called human beings to enjoy family and have children. How many? I don't know. As many as they want to. Or if they want to live a single life, I think the Bible allows for people to choose to live a single life. And that's completely fine too. And there's nothing diminishing about that. If a woman or a man says, I do not want to get married, I want to live a single life. I want to live a single and celibate life. My response to that would be, praise God. If that's what you want to live your life as, no problem about that. But that doesn't mean they are more or less educated now, or we should educate them for those purposes. I'm just saying, as an Armenian man whose culture's been through genocide, we are genocide survivors. 80% of the Armenian population in what is now called Turkey was wiped out. And I want to recover that population. I want to recover for the lost people, for the people that we lost. And so I'm going to have kids. I'm going to encourage my kids to have kids. Plain and simple. And Sean and his sort of people can sit there and complain and wail and whine about why we're having kids. And we will be having joyous 30-person Christmas dinners. And maybe invite Sean over to see what a joyous family is. Yep. Very true. I was speaking to my niece and found myself doing so. And I asked myself why. I should be able to have a conversation about theological topics and philosophy. I do, by the way. I do have conversations with my kids about such things. There are limits to growth in nature, and we're part of nature. And who determines that? Sean, you do? No, thank you. With all that said, it is dark outside now. Here in Southern California. I was going to say I wasted. I haven't wasted. I've spent half my day with you guys. With all that said, God bless you guys. And I will see you guys Monday. Maybe tonight. Maybe I might actually go live on my phone just for the heck of it. And we'll see how that goes. I come from a big Catholic family. Well, but you're not Catholic, and you don't want to get married and have kids. That's the problem. Okay, all that's it. God bless you guys. And see you guys later. Either tonight or Monday.